love you guys. Dance off, bro. I have the high ground. Expecto Patronum! 39 days. What people want. Survive.
On the Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Matt, Michael, and I are here to talk about our next Survivor South Africa season review, Immunity Island. So, a season that I think was pretty solid on a rewatch. Like, it really did hold up for me on a second watch through, even more so, and very excited to talk about one of my favorite players of all time from International Survivor. So, but yeah, what did you guys think of Immunity Island on this watch through?
For me, this was a first watch through, so it was really fun to have a new season of Survivor to watch. And I would say easily the best season so far that we've covered in Survivor South Africa. I had so much fun with this season. Just it's a very like good energy season. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of big players, a lot of fun players, a lot of fun personalities, and it's kind of just consistent all the way through. And I was very happy with the winner. I didn't expect that to be the way it goes, and I was very pleased. I think it's a really, really solid season.
Yeah, I agree completely. Matt?
Basically what Michael said. Well, this was my second watch through. It was more fun this time, so I was able to see how Nicole was able to win. And if you know she's going to win, there are a lot of clues throughout the season of hints that she's going to win, especially beating Chappies in the final immunity. So that was fun. I know you, Jake, you said you have your favorite player from the season, which is Warda, right?
Oh yeah, definitely Warda, the greatest Survivor player of all time.
She's so good that she didn't even show up at the end.
I know. They really had to get her off that jury. No, I mean, as I eat during this, fittingly enough, for the Immunity Island review at Jake's Diner, I'm very happy to talk about Chappies. So,
good joke, Jake.
Yeah, I wonder who came up with that one, Michael. Just like Chappies, Jake is stealing stuff.
Yeah, let's get into like impressions of the cast. As we mentioned before, this cast is like full of great players and characters. Even when we were like talking about the first episode in our chat, like it was so like fun to talk about them because we kept bringing up like a bunch of names of the players and like being like, I like this person, and that's unusual for some seasons of Survivor. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I knew of Chappies going in. He's one of those figures in South African Survivor that you're kind of aware of. Like he kind of transcends into the global Survivor world. People have heard of him. But to me, so I knew I was gonna like Chappies just because of what I knew about him as a character, and he was a really fun player and a really bubbly personality and delivered great confessionals. To me, this season, I'm so glad I discovered Kiran and Anesu because for me, they have become two of my favorite players. I think they're both fantastic, and I wish one of them had made it to the end. I really was rooting for Kiran. And yeah, both of those players were kind of complete packages in a way. And Anesu kind of reminded me of like a Shawnee type where she just seemed to have connections everywhere and everyone wanted to work with her and had such good social skills with everyone. I think she was like an absolute top tier player.
Yeah. Anesu was very interesting as I'm sure we'll talk about her shortly. But yeah, I mean, she had like alliances with everybody on the original Vuna like immediately, and I mean, she knew Warda like personally, so like
she just knew people.
I was like, wow, this is very, very interesting. So, but yeah, and then Kiran, I really liked, especially even more on this rewatch than I already did. seems like, someone that I would get along with like strategically and work with strategically, because I feel like we'd have like the same kind of mindset in the game. But any other standouts we want to mention before we get into the episodes?
Two of my favorite players of all time. You have Chappie. Well, not favorite players. Two of my favorite characters of all time. You have Chappies and Pinty. No, I'm just kidding. You have Chappies and Santini. Like
Yes.
Santini's gameplay was just incredible. Like she was the idol whisperer. Somehow, four idols came and went through her hands somehow. And then of course you have Dino, who is one of the greatest players of all time, which you don't get to see in this season.
Dino, I'm excited to talk about his like 2-season arc here. Like this at least sets him up for next season to like get his full like completed arc. And like even in this season though, like his short stay is so much fun. And I really enjoyed watching him and was sad when he left so early. So
Swaps.
I wasn't too sad about it because like I already know he wins, so it's hard to be too heartbroken when you know he's going to come back and have a blinder of a season next time. So I was like, it's okay, Dino, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Were you also happy when you found out Pinty's coming back, Michael?
I couldn't. So I've watched episode 1 in preparation for the next episode. I couldn't believe Pinty was back. Also, I didn't realize it was pre-merge versus post-merge till I started watching it. So that some of the choices make a bit more sense now. I knew that, but yeah, a bit of a surprise, I would say.
Yeah, it's insane. Like thinking about some of the people they did bring back, but I'm okay with it at this point. Like I guess I can think of reasons why they might bring certain people back from here. Like I don't want to say controversial, but like I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of like thing to say to bring someone back that maybe had something that didn't make them like maybe the most like likable player, but like they were brought back because their personality would like maybe piss people off or rub people the wrong way. And
you can say Tanya's name. It's fine.
Well, and Pinty.
What?
Tanya,
however you say it.
She's just amazing.
Yeah, I know. But she rubbed a lot of people the wrong way on her original season.
She did.
Like Felix, who's also back.
And Pinty. Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the episodes. And so episode 1 starts and we immediately start meeting our cast. And so Tyson gets a couple confessionals. Tyson's going to be kind of interesting. Where like I think Tyson's like a big player because he does a lot of things with Kiran in this season. I don't particularly know that I enjoy Tyson, but like he does make certain things interesting. I will say that.
I had an up and down relationship with Tyson. My first note of the season is from Tyson, where he says he would rather die than be painted a loser, which is, to put it kindly, extreme.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, Tyson, like I had a very up and down going with, like, he seems like a great person, but just his gameplay and his like moral high standing really rubbed me the wrong way.
Oh, absolutely. Like we'll get to it later on, but like the holy like moral high ground that he has later on is just crazy.
I've said about it many times on this podcast that the one thing that really pisses me off as a viewer of Survivor is people just taking the game very personally. And it's easy for me to sit here and say that, like, I'm not out there starving with them, but I don't know. I just hate when people get super personal with people, and it's just not pleasant and not necessary. And he's just stealing a little bit of food. Come on.
Yeah,
you
I know.
Can go catch crabs.
Exactly. And then of course we get a confessional from Chappies being like, this is my story, like you're going to follow Chappies' story throughout this season, and you pretty much do.
Yep. Welcome to my journey on claiming the title.
Yeah. And
very close.
Yeah, and so falling close. Just short.
so stupid. Why couldn't it be a final 3?
I know.
Yeah. He falls in the Dirty Harry spot, so it's a good position.
Yeah, and then don't we have a confessional?
You don't even react to my Dirty Harry references anymore.
Yeah, I'm just so used to. I'm just so used to him now.
Yeah. We do get a confessional, like, I think where I can't remember who says it, but someone gets like pissed off by Sean not wearing his shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Sean walking in with his shirt off. Yeah, I think it was Mordar who complains like, "Oh, he must think that he's really, a big guy or something."
it's probably honestly just really hot out there, and Sean doesn't want to wear his shirt. So, like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And speaking of confessionals, I believe this is the quickest ever that Michael fell in love. I think it was like a minute 30, right?
Yeah, it was so quick. It was like love at first sight. I couldn't believe my eyes. But I had no idea she would win the season.
I know.
So yes, I fell in love with Nicole. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think Nicole does some things right. I think there's potential mistakes, but she's able to recover from them.
There were no mistakes.
There were like,
She was perfect.
Oh, Michael, it's fine because you gave us a whole list of your crushes. Your crush list is now longer than how your hair used to be.
Yeah, I'm not exclusive. And they're all one-sided.
Yeah, it really is.
But
It's sad.
But no, I mean, she recovers from any mistakes she does make, and she does have great relationships, as we'll see. Like, even in this first episode, she immediately has like a 3, like with like Marisha and Amy. Like, that's impressive. I'm not like it. Like, anybody that's able to immediately get themselves in a tight trio and like not be targeted for that is good at this game. Like,
And she survives the breakdown of her alliance come merge and finds spots for herself. I think she does a good job playing from the bottom and finding her position. So yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of Marisha, Santini says she's the female version of He-Man. I just found that funny. It's like you couldn't think of another character, like maybe a female character, like maybe Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, She-Hulk, like
They're all there.
Marisha's confessional is interesting too, where she sets up a gym and likes to have people get tortured by going to their gym.
It sounds like Stu Hart.
Yes.
I knew Michael would get that one.
All right, well, so we get to this marooning, and so don't we also get a confessional from Jason saying that he's going to be the greatest player of all time?
Yeah,
he does worse than Andy when he makes that claim.
Oh God! I mean, now it's like you are trying to get them all in.
I didn't actually have that one written down. It just suddenly clicked that Andy said the same thing, but Andy was better than Jason. Well, we also have a fantastic confessional from Teresa when the tribes come together, where she says she's not happy with her tribe because it's not people she's drawn to. It's like, yeah, you haven't even said hello to them yet. At least give them a chance.
Teresa. I think she's funny though. Like I think they were trying to go for like a Suri type of player, and I think she has skills that can be very similar to Suri. She just is not able to kind of put them in place like Suri is. So
because as she says, if you're going to argue with me, make sure you're right. So
yeah,
just like Suri.
The marooning twist, so they get all the supplies. We've seen this before. Like, it reminds me of like millennials versus Gen X, where they're rushing around the beach trying to get everything. And there's also a tribal advantage that Renier finds and tries to hide it, and then Nico calls him out. Like, all right, we do have someone entering the waiting room, so I will let them in before we continue any further.
Yeah, send them in.
I have no idea who it's going to be.
There we go.
Oh,
hey Dino.
It's Dino.
Hey, what's up? If it isn't a tribe of nerds.
How are you?
What's up, Dino?
Well,
thanks for popping on. I get to introduce you and ask the first question. So here I go. You guys know him. He is one of the nicest survivors that I've ever met. He is also one of the greatest survivors, in my opinion. As he proclaims, he has more moves than a drunk white boy in a club. Are they good moves? Probably not.
No.
He is the Sandra of South Africa survivor because he either wins or he goes home on day 16. Mr. Dino Paulo.
That's quite an introduction, and I mean, you know a lot of Survivor players, so that's quite a compliment. So yeah, appreciate it. And thanks for having me, guys. And it's always fun to chat to you, Matt. And it's great to meet Jake and Mark as well, man. Finally.
Yeah,
nice
it's
to meet you,
awesome.
man.
All right. So, first question. Last time I talked with you, you told me that a production kept you in blindfolds as you were walking in. So, explain what you were thinking as it was happening, and then what happened when you pulled off the blindfolds.
It is so funny, man. So it was actually, man, it was Lou actually reminded me it was 4 years ago on the 6th of November that actually happened, right? That we started playing season 8, right? Well, most people started playing season 8. I was still trying to find my feet on day one. Yeah, so I mean, there we are. We're blindfolded because Survivor South Africa works really with a lot of anonymity until the moment you start the game. You have no idea who the other castaways are. You know, it's very different to Australia and US in that regard. So we've now been blindfolded for like a couple of hours, basically, haven't seen a single soul. And we're being walked out to obviously where we're going to start our initial walk down, you know, that opening scene where we're walking down to the Wild Coast. And LaRue's giving all these directions. I'm like, okay, you guys, no, we're blindfolded. And LaRue's like, oh, you guys are going to be walking in the straight line, and you're going to see a camera to your right there and a bush to your left, and you're going to take this path, and you're going to go at this pace, and you need to set that pace and ensure that the gaps aren't too big, aren't too small, da da da. And I'm ADD, I'm like amped to go. I'm like zoning out, zoning in, zoning out. And the person in front, you need to do this. And then I'm just like, fucking sucks to be that guy. And then as you know, like has an open fucking blindfold, and there you are. There's no one in front of me. And I'm like, I think there's been a mistake. Like I'm supposed to be following someone. Look behind me. There's a whole line of these people behind me who I'm like, holy shit, who are these people? And I'm like, okay, what were the directions? I'm like, I can't remember left from right all of a sudden. So it was a really overwhelming start. And I suppose, I mean, it sets the tone for like my first couple of days out there, really, you know, like what a mess, but it was awesome. I remember looking back along this long line of people going like, okay, am I walking too fast? Am I walking too slow? And I'm like, who are these people, you know? And I've got this like frown on my face apparently, and people after the season, they were like, yeah, you know, you're looking back at us so like menacingly, like judgmentally. And I was like, no, dude, I was just trying to figure out if I'm going too fast or slow, you know? So it was quite funny, yeah. But like I say, that really set the tone for my first couple of days out there, really.
Yeah. Well, so you start at the marooning, and so you have to rush to gather supplies all across the beach, and this is where you end up getting the individual immunity necklace on the pole and try to point Paul to go get the other tribes. So why was it the best decision for you to go for the individual immunity?
Objectively, it probably wasn't. Why did I take the bait? Why did I take the bait? That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. So it's a funny story, right? The Survivor community in SA is quite small, particularly the fan community, right? So Jason Brookstein, who was obviously on our season, I actually saw him walk into the final interview and back out. Now, I didn't know Jason personally, but I knew of him through the community, and I'd seen all his audition videos, and I knew that he'd be this like astute game player. And I knew that we had a mutual friend in Tony from season 6, that he was quite close with her, and I'd become friends with her through the org community prior to playing. And I remember that freaked me out for months before playing the game. I was like, this guy's going to gun for me. Is he not going to gun for me? I'm like, geez, it would be so great to have this like undercover ally, you know, overanalyze this going. And then next thing you know, who's on my tribe? Jason Brookstein. And I'm like, is this guy going to gun for me? He knows everything about me. I can no longer be this. I was going to play myself off as a skydiving instructor who's here for an adventure. And I'm like, well, that's not going to fly. He's going to know exactly what I do for a living. And I was like, oh shit, okay. you know what? I want to play it cool. I want to try build a relationship with this guy, but I don't want him to come blindside me first votes. I don't want to be first boot because of that, you know? And that's what really like made up my mind. As soon as Nico had said, hey guys, you know, there's a individual immunity. I can't remember I think he said it was an advantage. He doesn't say it was an individual immunity. I cannot remember the wording. It could have been immunity or hidden there. I was like, I'm getting that. I mean, I remember like, geez, I remember going out there and grabbing tomatoes, and there I am with my little satchel that I'd like made from this material that I'd found while we were out there. And I'm like, geez, grabbing these tomatoes and I'm having a look around. And I've got like, geez, I packed up like 30 tomatoes. Meanwhile, it's just this open piece of cloth and one tomato goes in and it goes straight back out, you know, and I'm just like, well, looking around for this thing. So yeah, I'd made up my mind to go for that, particularly because Jason was there. And my intuition was probably on point because he did like instantly as we hit the camp, he went out and was like, hey, did you know Dino was at the season 7 finale? He won an org. He owns an escape room company. He's a puzzle guy. And I was like, Jesus, like, I was like, I'm Dino. I hadn't even gotten that out of my freaking mouth, you know? And the Paul thing, why did I point Paul there was because I recognized Paul from back in school days. I was a rower. And I recognized him from an opposition rowing school that we used to row against. And the rowing community was like actually pretty small, you know? And I was like, oh, Paul, geez, I know this guy. I was like, oh, I know exactly. When he said his name, Paul, I was like, I knew exactly who he was. And obviously the assumption was he'd remember me. The community is small. Turns out, help me, Paul. There's a good reason. He was like, well, I don't know you fucking rowed. I was like, I don't remember you. I was like, well, there we go. You know, so that explains why I try to point him to the immunity necklace and why I had the help me, Paul moment. So again, like, were they great game moves like from the outside? No. Were they moves that I thought was probably at that point in time what I thought was best for my game? And would I do that again with the information I had? Probably to the same result, you know? So yeah, I mean, that's a bit of context there. So great question, but I hope that gives you a bit more insight. Doesn't mean it was good. It didn't work out, but yeah, at least it made for good TV at the very least, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like taking risks, like sometimes risks pay off and sometimes they don't. So
100%. But what I can say, and I'm gonna, as Matt knows, I'm gonna go on a little tangent here.
Yeah.
But and for anyone who wants to play the game, right? I really felt like I seized every second of every moment I was out there. And I got to play more game, even though it wasn't great game, I got to play more game and experience more in those 16 days than some people who went a little bit further, you know? And that's because I was like, dumbass over here, like, I'll go raid the other tribe because that's going to make me plenty friends. I'm short of friends as it is. I'm going to go raid the other tribe and take stuff because that's what I need to do, you know? Poor life, poor game choices. But in a sense, I think that like, willingness to come to the fore and play the game and go out there and take chances and put myself up in, you know, in vital positions in challenges or, you know, take the bait that production sets, you know, be a vulnerable character and, you know, kind of just accept that, you know, things aren't going well and just keep going anyway. I think that's part of the reason why I was fortunate enough to return, you know. And I got to walk away from the game with like a great experience and, you know, an edit that at least I was there or thereabout. You know, it's not a winner's edit, it's not a hero's edit, but I was there, you know, enough to have been asked back. Where some other people really focused on the let's lay low because, you know, under the radar, so I can get to the end of the game and win the whole thing. But that's not even surefire. You can go home, you know, in Kian's case, that was her strategy, but she delivered absolutely zero content. And now she's got this thing where she didn't partake in any of the game per se because she was so under the radar. She didn't get any kind of screen time because she was so under the radar, even in confessionals. But then you meet her, you know, in the game or outside of the game, or particularly outside of the game, and you go like, wow, this person, you can understand exactly why she was cast. But she completely suppressed all the incredible things about her, all that survivor knowledge about her, all that survivor fandom. And I think she's a good example because, I mean, she's actually got a great survivor mind and she loves this game and she knows the game so well, but she suppressed all of this to be under the radar and then she still fell short of merge, you know? So there's no surefire way. So like my advice to players is always like, just go seize it. It's kind of like that, right? There's the next day is never a given. It's never guaranteed. So if you're going to go out, at least make the little time you're there worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it really worked out for you in the long run. So
Can't complain.
Yeah.
Who knows? That
so-
could have all been Paul. Maybe that was his grand master plan to help me in the long run. I don't know.
So you get to your beach. What were the original dynamics like on Zamba?
What were they like, or what were they like in my head? Because those were two very different things, right? Yeah. They were interesting. They were quite interesting. So what I remember is, we were quite upbeat. It was very upbeat, high energy. I instantly clashed with Sean a bit, and I think to this day, even our personalities just don't like click. I could feel Teresa feeling a bit isolated because we had like a strong Afrikaans contingent, within our tribe. So even though there was like this like high energy, you could really pick up on these early like kinds of moments. And we were by the well introducing ourselves, and everyone's like, "Oh, what do you do? What do you do?" And it gets to me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, and I own a small business." "What business do you own?" I'm like, "It's a business called Hint It's Escape Room." "Ah, so you're the puzzle guy." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. Like it's my yeah." So it was quite interesting. It was very friendly, and I think that's probably what most people experience at marooning is it can be quite jovial and friendly. It's a celebration. In our case, we're cooped up in this hotel room for 10 days, isolated from the world, stripped of all communication to the outside world. You see a human being every second day for like a few minutes if you're lucky. Your food gets dropped at your door 3 times a day. In fact, they forgot to drop my food every now and again. And I was like, "Guys, what are you doing here?" Like, so all this energy is built up, and now you're free from that prison cell. You're about to go and live this dream. So it's quite jovial. I know that doesn't answer the dynamics, but the dynamics start to play out, not the moment you're on the beach, but like within a few hours after that, you can really see where people are leaning. And that's where I say like the Teresa, you could see felt a bit isolated. Jason felt like he was all over, and that intimidated me. And I was like, "Geez, I'm behind in this game." This Renier gave off this really calming, cool, calm, collected, like energy presence, the safe presence. And this is why he ended up being like everybody's number one early on. It was incredible, how many people regarded him. I mean, even me as this outcast regarded him as like probably the closest person, Mm-hmm. And yeah, so it's interesting, and it's hard because I haven't rewatched the season since, right? And it's interesting to cast mind back, so it's hard to answer the conversation, but that's what I remember of it, if that does answer in some way.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and speaking of Jason and Renier, well, went into that vote, and did you notice that Renier was pointing at Jason while he was talking to you?
100%. So what was interesting about that?
That was a joke, Dino. God, of course you noticed. Of course you noticed. No.
I'm so sorry. Well, there we go. Now you probably, so at this point, guys, if this idiot can win Survivor, I mean, what does Jeff say? Apply to be on Survivor. It's like 100%. This is the guy. No, so what was funny about that? I was just thinking about that moment, and what brought it up was early on, and to my point of going like, Renier was going to be my number one. He was like my safe space. And the guy didn't trust me for shit because I gave off like shade energy. Turns out Renier had seen all my audition videos, and in his audition for season 8, he referenced my season 7 audition video and said, "Put me on the island with this guy, I'll vote him off first." Right? This is how funny it is. It gets, right. And I didn't know any of this at the time. We've remained friends, and we've laughed about so many things after the game. But I was like, this is my guy. So when the Jason suggestion started coming up, I felt for him as a player and as a as a human, as a fan. I was like, geez, I know I'm safe, but if it's really him, that's going to hurt. That's hard. There's other people there that aren't super fans. It's a bit different, right? Mm-hmm. But when the suggestion came up, the first thing I said, it was while we were chatting to Nicole and Marisha, I was like, I need to go tell Renier. And I sprinted to Renier. And as I'm trying to have this is when the whole Jason thing happened. And I was like, oh my word, Renier's on the same page. So it was just like, it was beautiful. And then it became like, oh, well, is this too easy? Is there this other plan? And then Renier had the same kind of worries, and that's why he tried to go for me at tribal council, where he was like trying to assess whether we were trying to blindside him. So there was a little bit of paranoia from everyone. But what a moment. Shame. Look, Jason didn't ever really forgive Renier for that moment because it is hard to watch back for yourself. But on the other side, it's like, we put ourselves in these positions. We go out and we say we want to go play Survivor. You got to take the good with the bad, right? It's not all going to be sunshine and roses. And kudos to Renier for creating an incredible, memorable TV moment, right?
Yeah, it was so funny.
As well, the memes are great.
Yeah. So then you get swapped onto Vuna 2.0. So like, what was it like getting swapped onto that after only 2 rounds of the game?
I was surprised. I was kind of calculating a swap after the 3rd challenge, and it came after the 2nd challenge, if I remember. And I was quite relieved because I felt like I hadn't found my footing in Zamba, right? So for context, like nights 1 and 2 in the shelter, I didn't have a space in the shelter, right? So like it wasn't much of a shelter even then, but we had kind of cold, and then we had like what was going to be the base, and because rain was coming in, we decided to sleep under the base, under like half a meter height, not even 40 centimeters, and everyone's like kind of like cozying up, and they're like, okay, guys this side, girls this side, and then I'm like, cool, I'll just fit in wherever, and then everybody gets in, and they're all cozy. I'm like, cool guys, where can I squeeze in? And it's like dead silence, and I'm like, hey guys, and then I hear Jason giggling, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so stuffed, And then Amy's like, oh no, Dino, you can come sleep next to me. And then I was like, I will die for this woman in this game. I will die for her in this game because she's so kind-hearted. And to this day, Amy and I are like really, really good mates, and a lot of it stems from just she's a great human. But anyway, so with those early dynamics and my paranoia, which there was reasons for me to be concerned, but my behavior really drove and gave even more reasons for people to be, wary of me because I was so chaotic in energy. So I was like my own worst enemy. But when that swap came, I was actually so relieved because I was like, yay, new people, like this is a new opportunity. But I was also confused because there I was going like trying to chat to Kiran on the bench there. Then Tyson and Paul are busy exchanging information. I'm like, shit, they're exchanging information. Then I'm going to Kiran and Tyson going like, hey guys, like, listen, I saw the whole thing. Like, you're going to go get. But at the same time, on the way to camp, I'm saying to Renier, you need to watch Tyson because he got info. He's definitely going to go for an idol. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm very genuinely in the moment saying to Kiran and Tyson, like, listen guys, tell me what's happening and I'll keep you secret. I'm an outcast, like, but there's no reason for them to trust me or trust any reason. So I was like very mixed up in that swap, but I felt very relieved by that first swap. Absolutely.
Yeah, there were some fun dynamics in play over there too. So it was interesting to watch.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. And I think for Teresa, it was also a good moment and a good swap and a relief, and we met some really, really, really cool people. Like Kiran and I are great mates to this day as well, and he's phenomenal. I mean, he's phenomenal at the game. If I was less of an idiot, I could probably write a thesis on how brilliant he is. But he's just a great human. So like just meeting people like that and Anesu, like geez, this energy of, she's just phenomenal as a human being and as a player, and so it's great. As I love people, right? So that was just such a great experience, and I remember Vuno 2.0 far more fondly than I remember Zamba 3.0.
I wonder why.
I just couldn't imagine.
So you go to the next tribal council you go to is the Threezo Tribal Council, where Tyson plays an idol and cancels out 5 of his votes, sending Teresa home. So what went into that tribal council? And you also thought you had an idol there as well.
So what was quite interesting was Teresa had showed us the paperwork that she'd picked up from Tyson. She showed Renier and I, and we saw an insignia, but we didn't get all the wording and stuff like that. It was kind of flashed, and Renier and I was far more sold in it than Renier was. I was like, she's got an idol. I was trying to work with Teresa. I was like, cool. And Teresa's expectation was, I'm going to go and tell everyone in the tribe because she thinks like I was just pure chaos and like trying to win everyone else's favor. But in my mind, I genuinely wanted to work with Teresa, so I didn't go tell anybody about Teresa's alleged idol. So like it was kind of the great irony in that, right? But leading up to that, I kept going to Kiran and Tyson going like, listen, guys, I triangulated a bit, and Kiran will verify this. So I was like, look, you said this, you said this, you said this. I'm pretty certain you've got an idol. And it's like, I'm like, that's okay. Let me work with you. Like, I'm not with these guys. You can see there's this tightness and then this, and I want to be here with you guys. Kiran was far more receptive to that than Tyson, right? So, what unfortunately happened was Tyson and Teresa ended up falling out. And I'm just trying to remember exactly what it was over. It had something to do with Ivan and the parchment. Teresa will have to jog my memory or come on and chat to you guys, which I'm sure she'd have no issues doing if she hasn't really agreed.
I will message her then, because I've been so busy trying to get all of Michael's crushes on the podcast.
Yeah, there you go. You just send me the list. I'll help you out there. No stress.
Well, I already got Nicole to agree, and then I got Jake's crush Chappies to agree.
Hey, you've done well. You've done well. I don't know what they're paying you, but it's not enough, my guy. I actually got a message from Nicole. She's like, "Hey, do you know screenshots of long message? Like, can you?" I was like, "Oh, bro, it's Matt." I was like, "You're good. You've got to do it. Like, you'll love it." But anyway, so Teresa and I thought, Tyson at that point in time like burned an idol unnecessarily because Teresa and I would have worked with Kiran and him. We could have totally, blindsided Marisha at that tribal council, but he had broken trust with Teresa. He didn't trust me necessarily. And then we get into tribal council and, I want to work with Kiran and Tyson, but they've given me absolutely nothing. So I'm like, geez, okay, cool. I'm putting Tyson's name down, it seems, but I know in my heart that he's got this idol. Anyway, Tyson then leans over and whispers to me, he's like, put my name down. I've got an idol. And I'm like, cool. I don't have to vote Teresa out. And he's going to play his idol. There's a bit of trust building here, so I do exactly that. Turns out down the line that me putting Tyson's name down was a big part of the reason why he was like this guy, he's got to be cut. This is why he was like, this guy's dangerous. And I'm like, but you told me, you gave me permission, and I told you you had it up. So I had my version, he had his version, and it's just how the game rolls. But yeah, so going into that, I thought it was so disappointing because I wanted to build with Tyson. I wanted to build with Teresa. I would have loved to have flipped it on one of the original Zumbas at that point in the game. But I mean, geez, I had like, what's a smart guy here? What's less than zero? I had less than that in social capital. I don't know if negative numbers is such a thing, if that exists. If it does, that's what I had. No, I'm kidding. So I had no social capital, so I couldn't direct anything. I could just go along and just try and minimize my risks, But it was such a shame, man. Teresa, shit, man, also such a great human, incredible speaker, so smart, and she understands this game, man. She understands. She'll crack jokes and go like, "Oh, she's not good at this game, whatever," because it hasn't worked out twice for her. She's gone home pre-merge, but what a mind! And when you guys have no doubt you'll get to chat to her, you'll get it, dude. She's incredible, man. So it was a huge shame to lose her on both seasons. Like,
yeah,
well, that's your fault. So.
Oh, kind of. Most, I guess. I mean, if I wasn't so shit at the game, I might have been able to help. But yeah.
So then you get to another tribe swap. You get swapped onto Zamba 3.0, and like walk us through your final moments in the game where you get voted out when Santoni plays an idol, and you get 4 votes to get voted out. The 7th person voted out, right? Yeah.
7th person, day 16, 3 days before merge. Yeah.
That'll be rough.
If it was a new era, you'd have made it.
Yeah, it's a new era. Yeah.
Jeez, I was like top 5 basically, man. Like, I'd be on Cameo, bro. Like, holy shit. So yeah, that tribe swap instantly, I was like, oh, yeah, dude, this is bad. This is like really, really bad. And then Anela gets sent to Immunity Island. And Renier actually hugged Kiran and said, look out for Dino, which I found, which was like super interesting from dynamics thing, which I wasn't sure whether it was going to play in my favor or not play in my favor. I knew we were stuffed in that challenge. We just didn't have the athleticism to stand a chance. And I was dreading the worst. I was like, okay, cool. How quickly can I throw somebody else under the bus, right? And then we get to camp, and I'm having chats, and I'm like, I've actually built a very genuine relationship with Kiran, and Kiran can kind of see through a bit of the chaos and a bit of the perceptions, and we connect as people, and that's shown even past game. We see things very similarly, but he's probably a bit clearer, but we have similar viewpoints, right? So he made me feel a lot safer, and he was genuinely working to try and keep me in the game. And one of them even came to me and had a couple of chats. She was like, "Yeah, talk me through the Tyson vote." And I was like, "Hey, one of the, this is what happened. I was going to Kiran and Tyson. I told them that I knew from this, and these are the reasons I gave. And then we get to tribal council, and this is what's happening. And Tyson says, put my name down." So he's like, "I've got an idol, put my name down." So I put his name down, and it's like, "Okay, cool." And she's like, "Do you genuinely want to work with us?" I'm like, "Well, absolutely." I'm like, outcast there. Like, I've got no hope on that side. I called them the Seven Deliners because a lot of the Afrikaans community, there's a really famous Afrikaans show in South Africa called Seven Deline. It means like 7th Avenue, right? It's a street name. So I called them the Seven Deliners because that's a show they would have watched. I'm like, there's no ways like the Portuguese Okia is getting in there with them, So I try to state my case, and I think, and Wanda and Kiran actually genuinely, but Tyson just wasn't budging. And Kiran gave me another lifeline that I look back on and I beat myself up on for many months, which was, he's like, you need to go have you need to chat with Tyson. And in my mind, I was like, cool, we've had these chats. You've said I'm actually safe. You've said Santini is the ideal candidate. If not, Kian can have a vote on her, in case Santini plays something. We've had these discussions, Kiran, I trust you. I'm like, cool. I didn't realize the urgency, until we were at tribal council. And by that stage, it was too late, Had I taken Kiran's, heads up and sat with Tyson on the beach for like an hour, perhaps, it's definitely not a surefire thing, but perhaps I could have taken that like 2% willingness in him to work with me to like a 20% and let him seriously consider it, But Kiran very rightfully couldn't take up the most loyal foot soldier he could ever have in his game for somebody he wanted to work with, which was me. He could never sacrifice that, And he thought very much about, the Tevin and PK alliance and how PK ended up turning on Tevin for the same kinds of thing where Tevin wasn't giving PK the room to actually play. And Kiran made a great decision in that because he had an incredible number one ally, and they went deep into the game and made some great moves together. So, yeah, I mean, that tribal council was tough, man. And I remember it's so funny because I remember I was like, season 6 had an idol at tribal council, season 7 had an idol at tribal council. And I'm looking around the set and I'm like, geez, like, I'm like taking it all in, because I'm wary of the fact that I'm like, I could be going home tonight. Like, I was kind of 50-50. Kiran made me feel like I had a 50% chance of staying, right? But the other side of me was like, I could be fucked. So I'm looking around tribal council. I'm like, geez, these holes would be a great place to hide an idol. I'm like, do I just need to go scramble now and just start shoving my hands in these holes? And so I remember very clearly, like, where I was sitting and looking around, the feeling I had, like, I can picture it now. And it was so funny when, like, I mean, I was looking to the left side of the set, and Santini was to my right, and it was behind her where the idol was actually placed. Funny enough, I would never have found it, but just the fact that the thought crossed my mind was quite it was quite amusing to me in some way. So yeah, I mean, but that was devastating, and we had that tribal council. And I still had some hope, but as soon as people got up to vote, you actually see my head sink after the whole votes have happened, but that actually happened as the first person went up to vote. My head just sunk, and I was like, I'm done. I know. I just knew in my heart it was happening. So it was tough, but it's surreal, man. Tribal council is a powerful place. It's unreal because you get there and it's just so quiet. You just hear the flame and it's so quiet. You don't hear the background music. You don't hear like anything else. It's an incredible experience, man. So there's a part of me that was so grateful that I was still present enough to take in that moment, to take in that boot for what it was. It's a part of the survivor journey, and it's a privilege to have been able to experience that even then, but it was a privilege.
Absolutely.
Well, you called yourself an outcast, so hopefully, maybe one day you'll be able to return, maybe as an outcast. I don't know.
Look at me, I got that joke, man. I got it. I got it instantly.
Yeah.
Come a long
Well,
way. Second time lucky, apparently, man. It's my thing.
Yeah.
that's right. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. Just like your time on Immunity Island, I think we have to end it. But before you go, is there anything you want to promote, or any person, maybe from Survivor 47, you want to give a shout out to?
Anyone at all. I don't know. No, just a shout out to the whole 47 cast. I'm like, congrats. The whole cast is doing a phenomenal job, and it's like it's so cool to see everybody playing the hearts out and leaving it all out there. And there's like a really high number of what I think is like really astute game players, and they're playing in so many different styles. It makes it so entertaining. So well done to the entire 47 cast, except for the one person who's trying to spoil it for everyone. Fuck you. I don't know if you must be up to date with exactly what I've just referenced, right?
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
And I don't want
We'll
to
take
know.
it
I don't want to know. I don't want to know any spoilers.
No, we'll take it offline. We'll take
Yeah.
we'll take it offline.
Okay.
Except for that one person, you're trash. But no, but a big 100%. When I explain to you, you'll know. But obviously, I mean, my girl Rachel, dude, so proud of Rachel. So happy that she's experiencing the Survivor journey the way she is. She's playing a great game. She's making some great reads. She's getting this experience of like being blindsided, being at the top, being at the bottom, being in between, using social capital, using advantages. Like she's getting the whole freaking Survivor experience and then some. And I'm so proud of her. So yeah, and good luck to the rest of the cast for the rest of the airing season. Yeah, I've enjoyed the season, and I hope everyone else has too.
Yeah, it's been a good season.
Yeah. And speaking of good seasons, we will have you back on when we do a full length deep dive. So maybe 5 to 7 hours about your winning game of Return of the Outcasts.
Depends on how long my battery lasts. I mean, if you play cards right, we can get a full 12-hour session. We can make it a 24-hour. We can do the Le Mans, right? Why should I change ourselves? We'll take put in a couple of days leave. But yeah, thanks to you guys for checking it out and supporting Immunity Island and supporting our the Survivor franchise across
absolutely.
The Kiki teenage cousin. You've got the cool kid in the cool mature US Survivor family member. Then you got like the nice, like, the 17, 18-year-old that the like moms kind of have a crush on, which is the AU Survivor. And then you've got the nerdy, geeky kind of like South African younger cousin who's like, they're about, So it's really cool that you guys support us, and appreciate it. And we hope you enjoy, whatever is out there, and, the people that have put it together and been a part of it. So yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Dino. This has been awesome.
Yeah, really nice meeting you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'm sure it's not the last time we chat. Well, I mean, outside of the obvious returning thing, but
right.
Cool.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so
Cheers,
much,
guys.
Have a good day.
You too.
And
that was awesome. That was awesome.
I'm really curious about you. I'm going to message him later about what's going on with 47. But
we won't say it here on the air, but
But back to Immunity Island. So we left off with the marooning, and we just found out details about why Dino went for the advantage.
Yeah, I didn't know he had the really close connection with Paul, like outside the game too. Like this is crazy to hear about all these like connections these South Africa players have with each other, like that we didn't even know about. And I don't know, that kind of makes it cool. And like for me, it kind of opens up a new perspective on that for people kind of going into something, knowing each other, and kind of giving me a better perspective, I guess I'll say. So, but yeah, so I mean that marooning happens, and so Renier gets called out by Nico for having the tribal advantage.
Trust me, it's a good thing. And then he's like, okay, fine.
And someone playing the game too, right, already. It's like,
well, I don't blame him, because you didn't know what it was going to be.
Right. It's just funny. And I mean, it didn't like blow up his game or anything. So like, it's fine. Anything else from the marooning?
I think I already covered all my notes on it. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, at the camps, so we see like Anesu is basically aligned with everyone. So
Yeah.
like that's crazy to me. Like that's like a dream to like, but also it's like such a disadvantage because you're aligned with everyone. People can absolutely talk and find that out. I mean, it kind of happens to Jason a little bit, as we'll see. And like also just like then you have to cut somebody loose that you're technically working with eventually. So like that's the sucky part of like being in with everybody.
She does get by on it for a long time. She's very good at riding that line of keeping everyone on side, and
Yeah.
that's a real talent. Like it's difficult to do that and not have it blow up on you. Yeah.
Yeah, my only other notes for before the fire making contest is Kian digs into the rice for a hidden flint. Wink.
Yes, yep. Her and Sean are gonna get targets on their backs for going through the food for idle clues.
No, hidden flint, because that's what they do on Survivor.
Yeah, apparently. Another thing that's funny to me is when Chappies on the mat says he if he could he would go naked, and then later we see him go naked running into the ocean.
Yeah. He calls his shot.
I don't know, like the editing of this season is just so good. Like just like and the storytelling. That's what I appreciate when Survivor seasons like even do these callbacks to like quotes that happen. And I mean they do it in a lot of seasons, but particularly like the great ones. So all right, so we get to the fire making challenge, and this is Chappies versus Jason. And this is where we get one of my favorite quotes of the season when they come in and Chappies is like, I can see him shivering.
Yeah.
Like he knows that Jason might panic because with this fire making, which Jason unfortunately does, but Chappies dominates this fire making challenge and wins the fire making
Chappies
kit.
dominate a challenge? No way.
Yeah, no way.
Nobody saw that one coming.
But most importantly, we got diplomatic immunity. So what are your guys' thoughts? I know it doesn't end up coming into play this season, but yeah, I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I love this, how the different types of advantages and stuff that they threw into this season. I think some of them were really, really good. We'll get to one later. That's one of my favorite twists Survivor's ever done. Yeah, I think they tried some new things, which in a franchise that's at this point, what, 20 years old? Don't know when this season came out, but yeah, it's good to have new things and try something. And not everything's going to stick, but I think they did a better job than they did on what's it called? Island of the Island? No,
Yeah.
no, not Island of the Island.
Island of Secrets.
Island of Secrets. That's the
Too
bad
many
guy.
islands.
Yeah, there really are. Yeah, you know, for South Africa, there are a lot of islands apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of advantages, I like this advantage. And two of the people that helped come up with some of the advantages of the season, next season, are Shannon, Gus, and Mike Bloomberg from Rob Has a Podcast.
That would make sense then. Yeah, why they could.
And then every time they say diplomatic immunity, I just think of Lethal Weapon 2. Your diplomatic immunity has been revoked.
Yeah, I like this twist. It gives, again, another option to a couple of players, and they don't have to use it, which they don't, or Jason doesn't get the chance to, but but like if they really wanted to, they could take this risk and go over and possibly get themselves in a better position if they really wanted to. So
do a penna.
Yeah, and piss people off. Great. So Chappies does bring back the fire making kit, which leads to a lot of excitement. And on the other side, we see Jason bring back nothing, and everybody, like, I think it's funny. Don't we get a Teresa confessional where she's like, she doesn't think Jason's position is going to be affected by this at all, which
it's like milk. Yeah.
Anything else before we get to the immunity challenge?
We do get Jason and Sean making the Wesley Snipes alliance, which is good.
The Wesley Snipes alliance.
I forgot about that.
Do you remember? They called themselves the Blade Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, the Blade Brothers. I was like, I was trying to remember. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was like,
I love when my jokes get met with complete deafening silence.
No, I thought it was gonna be a white men can't jump joke. Well, okay.
No, I mean,
no.
I was thinking Blade at first, but I'm like, I don't remember this. All right. So we get to the immunity challenge, and it's getting like the ladder runs out of the water, swimming out, doing that, and then they have to climb up and solve a puzzle. And this is where Vuna is going to win, but we just talked to Dino about this. The "Help me, Paul" moment happens,
Yeah.
and
Paul's like, I don't even know who the fuck you are.
Yeah, Paul's just like, what? I don't know. I'm interested to talk about Paul's downfall in a few episodes because it's like Paul gets portrayed pretty positively in these first few episodes, and then everything just goes downhill in his boot episode, and I'm just like, what just happened like to this guy? Because it seemed like everybody liked him. Maybe they were a little bit like wary of him, but like they liked him. So it was very confusing.
Kind of like what happened to Jason. Like
Yeah.
the first half of this episode is like Jason's great, and then the second half is bye Jason.
True.
I would also like to mention that the immunity idol. Do we call it
Yeah.
immunity idol?
Yeah,
tribal
yeah,
immunity.
the tribal immunity. Yeah,
is really cool for this season. It's the Dark Mark from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah, like the skull. Yeah, with the like the snake. Yeah,
the snake. Yeah.
It's really interesting. All right, so then post immunity challenge. So then we have the first immunity island visit where Teresa gets to go to immunity island, and she gets immunity. She loses the challenge, so she loses her vote. Which I mean, all in all, like this is good for her because she gets safety from this first tribal. It could have potentially, like, her name could have potentially come up. So I'm glad she got to like have the chance to play a little bit and not just like immediately like not fit in and get taken out that way. But
while we're talking about Immunity Island, I think it's such a fun part of the season. Like sometimes these redemption exile places just kind of suck. I really like that you go there and take part in the challenge, or you have like options of what you want to do. It was just fun to have a nice little challenge area and some fun advantages and stuff. So I really liked Immunity Island.
Yeah, I like it better than Island of Secrets.
Yeah.
So like it's a little more interesting. I think it worked especially well with this cast just being like a lot more fans and like people who were ready to play the game, and so that I think that helped it a lot too.
And
they missed the chance for Boston Rob and Sandra to be one of the prizes.
No, or Rupert, like Israel did.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that trivia fact, and I need to like find that clip on YouTube to watch it.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Yeah. And speaking of Immunity Island, Dino sent me some items from both his seasons, and one of them we never got to see. It is a idol that you can have, but it has to be played for somebody else, which would be a fun little advantage.
Oh, wow. That is really cool. So he found it and it never came into play?
Oh, no, like after his season, he just like talked to the producers. Like, hey, if you have anything left over, like, you know, because he has like everything. He has like every vote from his winning season, like every vote, even not for him. So.
Oh, okay. I see. Sorry, I was getting confused by like, that makes sense.
Yeah. But this is for Immunity Island. It's one of the ones that we never got, like how Teresa never won her advantage, or there's somewhere where they choose to just leave.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense. That's really cool. It's so cool to see like the different props from every season, like what they come up with and how they come up with it. Survivor is just crazy with that stuff. I know, like, we talk about how Survivor, like, going into all these advantages sometimes like very much hurts the game, but like, I don't know. It's still cool to like see how much work they put into this stuff. So
yeah, except for New Era Survivor, where the only prop they have to print off is lose a vote.
Yeah, or make just a beaded necklace.
Yeah.
And bulk buy some little rocks.
Yeah. All right, so we get back to camp, and Sean is upset at Dino for doing the "Help Me, Paul" thing, and I love that we're gonna get at the end of this episode, like Sean losing his shit, like especially at Tribal. We'll get to that shortly. But the big fun moment is, of course, like Renier is not like he's annoyed by Jason like being unpredictable, and like I think he called out like Jason was throwing out Amy's name. I think is what kind of prompted Renier to get Jason out. And so yeah, we have the pointing meme, and it's just so funny that someone is like using this to get someone blindsided, and it works. Like
it is incredible. I feel bad for Jason, how Dino said, like, but still, it's just, man, that's so good.
It's the amount of times he does it.
Yeah.
It would have been a funny one, but it's the fact he keeps doing it and he keeps turning, and then he turns back and he immediately starts again, and then like.
Did you get my meeting? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, well, and he's like putting it behind his head, and
and my favorite part of this whole thing is like then they leave, and then like Dino's talking to somebody, and Renier comes up, Jason's coming, so then they all just scatter, and then Jason just shows up. A great shot. I just love that camera shot.
Yeah, and as Dino said, like I do feel bad for Jason because like he did really want to play there, and like every opportunity like in this episode just felt like it was Jason getting screwed. Like because I really don't think he'd be that bad of a player. So I'm not gonna give Jason any crap. I think this is a fantastic episode, and I think I would have liked to see Jason come back, but they obviously like Seamus is like, I guess I don't know what the word is, maybe like more potential for being chaotic and villainous. As a first boot, if you're gonna pick from the two, Seamus has like more potential, I guess. But
or we could have had Leanne or whoever it was from Island Secrets.
Oh yeah, Leanne. Yeah, that's the one you pick from the three options. All right. So we ready to hit tribal?
Yeah.
All right. So, yep, I have Sean losing his shit at tribal and just like being
common occurrence.
Yeah, just like he is so mad that like his name is out there for looking for an idol clue, and like Dino like saying like he was calling him out for the Paul thing, and just like it's so funny. I don't know, like one thing with Sean, like I thought he would be different than he was, and like I honestly like Sean as like a character on this season.
Yeah. And he wasn't looking for anything, he was just separating the fruit.
Yeah.
He was doing a good little thing for his tribe. The fruit needs separated. Was that fruit you ate?
That'd be incredible if it was, but it looked more like a cucumber or something.
Sushi.
Oh.
I was way off.
Yeah, it's the same here. Way off. And then after Jason gets voted out, Sean just goes up to him. Why didn't you talk to me more? We could have made a plan. You could not have made a plan. It was 7-2, Sean. You were on the losing side. What plan would you have made?
Also, kick a guy when he's down. He's taking his torch up to get snuffed, and you're like, why didn't you play harder? Why didn't you talk to me?
Yeah, this is your fault, fucker.
Get
off my island.
Well, and they don't really show that they roped Kian into like the plan either, so it's just like all of a sudden Kian's vote. Well, I mean, obviously her name is coming up, so it makes sense, but like they don't show her being told that like she's safe if she votes for Jason or something. So, but as Dino said, like seems like she just didn't give producers anything in confessionals, so that's why.
But that's fine because Chappies did.
He overcompensated.
Yeah, he overcompensated. Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts to say on Jason? Yeah.
Yeah, seems like a good guy. We should have gone farther, but oh well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Episode 2. So this starts out with Carla being super annoyed with Pinty, and this is gonna set up this episode.
Yeah, and Paul is also like Bear Grylls because he's making a cathedral out of bamboo, which is a fun quote from Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only know about anything before the challenges is Kiran and Paul cut bamboo in an interesting way with the machete slamming into the tree over and over. I guess that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
I do like Carla's like philosophy as well in the game where she says she's going to give herself 3 days before making a decision on somebody,
Mhm.
which I think is a good rule of thumb for the game where you don't want to just immediately cast certain people out or go all in with certain people. Just see who you're going to mesh with well in the game and actually make an educated choice down the line rather than just day one alliance, which never really hold true.
Yeah, but this strategy would not work in the new era because that would be like 4 to 7 votes in three
Because it's so
days.
much harder,
Yeah, so
Right.
much harder.
so much harder
Right.
than it's ever been.
Yeah, so with Mike and Carla, so I feel bad because I feel like Carla again plays a little bit too hard with certain things, and it kind of dooms Mike's game more by her kind of playing as hard. But obviously, like her playing hard this episode also saves Mike from going home. So like
Briefly, yeah.
yeah, so briefly, yeah. So like I don't know. I like both of them still. I think they're both interesting players. And they could have been more interesting had they lasted longer. So we get to the reward challenge, and this is the for fishing gear. This is the cage puzzle, and this is where Dino shows off his puzzle prowess, and dominates for Zomba. This is the episode where Dino shows he's really good at puzzles.
Yep.
This is the challenge that sliced up Sarah and Tony in Cagayan. So the Cagayan season inspiration continues for a third season of Survivor South Africa.
Yep, and this is where Jatia showed that she's not good under pressure on puzzles.
The anti-Dino, yeah.
Yeah. Anything else of note from this reward challenge? All right.
Yep.
Anything before the immunity challenge, or can we head to that?
I just have one thing. Chappies and Pinty recruit Paul into the formidable three without Anesu's consent. It's like how what the hell? You can't have a tight three and just add a fourth person without talking to all three people.
Yeah, and this is where we get like Anesu's confessional of being like she's wary of Paul from like looking into his eyes and stuff. And so, I guess it's maybe a little clue that like, yeah, something's gonna be up with Paul that people don't necessarily want to work with him. But
This is also where I got the first sense of like some strategy from Chappies that I really enjoyed. But realizing that whoever goes to Immunity Island is most likely, obviously chosen from the other tribe, and most likely to be the perceived weakest player or someone they think might be in trouble. And that Santoni is someone that is being viewed that way, and he wants to make a relationship with Santoni in order to kind of weaponize Immunity Island. So whatever she comes back with, she'll open up and tell Chappies about, which is a good way to know what's going on over there, to have someone that you know is going to go there quite regularly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we get to the immunity challenge, and this is where they have to throw sandbags to knock over a puzzle and then build it back up. And this is where they have to carry the bag across the balance beam. And this is where Renier breaks his back.
Yeah. Jeez. It's so bad. I thought, oh, there he goes. It's funny because when I was watching the season, I sent a message in after episode 1 saying I really liked Renier, and we were talking about the pointing. And then the next time at the end of the episode was just Renier falling off the challenge. I was like, oh, there he goes. Great. We got him Eddie back.
Yeah.
Luckily, he was okay.
Yeah, thankfully, but Renier, I did want to say that, Renier is another one of my favorite players in this season. I don't know, again, someone that I strategically think I would bond with, and has a pretty good grasp on the game. And it's cool to hear from Dino, Renier was so well connected, on Zomba and throughout, most of his game. And I've always seen Renier as, a Spencer Bledsoe, kind of, but, I guess better socially. So, yeah,
That's a high bar.
Yeah, I know. But I don't know. I can kind of, at least strategically, I think they are kind of on the same level. So,
we really are getting the Kagayana reference.
I know. So, but yeah, Dino again wins for Zomba. They win immunity. So, yeah, I think this is also a Kagyan challenge that they had to do this in that season. So geez, South Africa really loves that season.
Well,
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
stuck with it, yeah.
if you're going to steal one from the best.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. All right, so then Santoni goes to Immunity Island, and she wins the idol clue for the idol at Tribal, by the ring toss. It's like the one where
Yeah.
Boston Rob is talking to Michelle Fitzgerald in Winners at War is like, which was just like a thing at camp there, but like,
Well,
you know,
this is also a thing at any bar, really.
Yeah.
I know you don't know, Jake, but yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Santini says the name speaks for itself. There's going to be stuff to find here, and then she finds another idol.
Yes.
Like this is like her peak. She has a possibility of two idols, and then she leaves with one. It's like this is like, man. I was like, yeah, Santini, let's go.
Yeah,
she really made the most of her time. Yeah.
Yeah, I found this crazy that they had the possibility of two idols, but in fairness, one's at tribal council, one's at camp, so it's not like they're both there. She has to get both. So,
yeah.
I also just think a lot of people would assume that, and I think if you've found one idol there already, or at least a clue to where it's going to be, people might assume there's not going to be one anywhere else. So, like, good for her for really making the most of her time there and exploring and finding it. Because I think if I was there, I'd have thought like you and thought, well, I've got my clue. There's not going to be another one, so I'd have probably just sat and relaxed.
Yeah. All right. So this is where we're gonna get Pinty's downfall. There's a couple things. So I mean, Pinty's very much rubbing Carla the wrong way. With Carla's keeping her shoes too close to the fire, so it pisses Pinty off. Which is like, all right, like that's really gonna make Pinty explode. Her game is Carla's shoes.
Yeah, little things with Piney I've learned that she's very quick to anger.
Yeah. I don't know. It was funny there. And then of course the other big thing is that Pinty's going to reveal to Tyson that Chappies has diplomatic immunity, which is a very interesting decision to immediately like blow up your allies' game or a little bit. So I guess it doesn't. I don't necessarily know that it really actually hurts Chappies at all because I don't think it's like really brought up again. But
yeah, man, he's like the real Superman. Like everything just bounces off of him.
Right, exactly. But yeah, anything else before we head to Tribal?
This is also where I really started to like Anesu, and that love would grow bigger and bigger throughout the season, where she's just so well connected. She's like the information hub of the season.
Right.
She just sits there and everyone comes to her with everything that's going on. It's like it's just so impressive.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we get to Tribal, and this is where we're gonna see Pinty get blindsided in a 6-2 to 1 vote. Paul votes for Warda, right? And Chappies and Pinty, they vote for Mike. So, and everybody else votes Pinty out. And Pinty's last words are she thinks that Chappies got her voted out.
Yeah. Oh, and then she also says, only Anesu and Tyson didn't vote for me.
Oh yeah.
Well, you were a little bit off on that one.
I was like, wow.
The read was so good.
No, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with Pinty coming back. I think I did say it earlier, like it must have been because they wanted someone who would rub people the wrong way, and they went for a different kind of personality to bring back. That was a pre-merger this season.
Yeah, plus Pinty and Tanya are on the same track. Come on, it's going to be fireworks.
Oh God, yeah, yep.
I'm already only one episode into that season, but she's already annoyed at somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Probably everybody.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else before we move on to episode 3? All right. So they get back to camp after that, and instead of Carla, Mike is praised for the Pinty blindside, which is very interesting. That because I don't want to get like. Because I know it's kind of brought up again with like Anela and Warda, but like this is a little bit of misogyny here to just think that Mike organized this blindside like by himself. Like this definitely wasn't like a sole move by Mike. So
Yeah, it's kind of sucky, but it's exactly what like you should want to hear in that position. You
Yeah.
don't want to be outed as the mastermind.
Right.
Just chill.
Right.
You're like 2 episodes into the season.
Right.
But yeah, she has a fantastic confessional where she says, Paul thinks Mike was the mastermind. Typical man to underestimate the blonde. That's why you're going to lose.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else before we hit the tribe swap and reward challenge?
We do
All
get a
right.
fun scene of Santoni and Chappies where she fills him in on all of her many bits of idle information and clues and all kinds. And Chappies just like a little kid, just so excited.
Yeah. Oh, Chappies is gonna have so many fun quotes throughout the season. I'm so excited.
Name 57.
Geez, 57. Yeah.
I mean, you could probably do it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to think a little bit, but yeah. All right.
I do have, sorry, before we get to that, I do have my first moment of, apart from just seeing my first moment of love for Nicole, is where she's talking to Teresa, and I'm guessing Amy was the trio, where Teresa says, "You're a trio," and Nicole says, "A trio? We could be a girl band." Which was
that was good. That was a good
thing.
Yeah, that's an absolutely good moment on Nicole to just like turn it into like we can be together. Like we're not a trio. Like
I thought we were going to get the Spice Girls in the second season.
One can dream. All right. The reward challenge. This is the it's like sumo at sea, but in the sand, or maybe it's like more like the heroes versus villains challenge in the sand. It's something like that. You have to like wrestle for the sandbag or like
or champions versus contenders too.
Yeah, that's more
which also had Dirty Harry and Andy. So I'm getting him in.
Yeah,
I did like this challenge because everything was different, and then as Dino said, he told everybody about how Paul told Tyson about the clue, and also how Paul was kind of rude to Santoni when Santoni told Paul. It's like, well, you should have told me before. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Also, like, learn to whisper. Yeah. She's like filming him about. He's like, "What?" She's just like, "No wonder everyone finds out."
Yeah, so this is like a crazy moment. I'm glad when Survivor captures these conversations, and I feel like post-pandemic Survivor, like a lot of it, I feel like they're capturing more and more of these moments. So it's really, really cool. So yeah, they win the new let's see, who do I have? The new Zamba wins this reward challenge, and they get comfort items and a tribe advantage in the immunity challenge.
And we get our first instance of stealing on the season, where Smash steals protein bars for the reward.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Smash at all. I actually really like Anela throughout the season. I think he has some fun moments. I think he was a good player, and I'm kind of surprised by the end of it that he only gets one jury vote, because I really think he is a good player, and he just kind of, I think towards the end of the season is where like his couple missteps strategically kind of blow him up. So
I thought it was going to be so close going into the vote read. I thought it was going to be 6-3. I was kind of going through and trying to work it out, and then I couldn't believe, because also in the previous season when they read the votes, they don't do it in South Africa how they do it in the rest, where it's like 1-1, and then you know who wins when they stop reading the other person's name. They kind of show you a few of one person's name, and then they'll put a few of others. So even when Nicole's name kept coming out, I was like, that's okay, there's going to be more for Anela, even though I wanted Nicole to win. But no, she just smashed it. Yeah, she smashed it.
She smashed it.
Yeah, I think you said that. I'm like, yeah, buddy.
That was accidental.
And those are the best ones. For the tribe swap, I like how they have the little symbols during confessional, so you know which tribes they were on throughout the game. And then after the challenge, Tyson finds the Vuna idol.
Yes, he does, after he finds out about it. Yeah, I mean, this is first of Tyson and Kiran's like multiple idols as well. Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say about Tyson is, again, like, he is playing hard, and he is good at finding idols and stuff. So like I will give him credit for that.
Well, this one was kind of handed to him.
Well, I know it was, but Yeah. All right. So then we do get to the immunity challenge, and this is the one with like the rain hooks. And even though Zamba has the advantage, Vuna does win the immunity challenge. So but again, a good challenge. I did notice again the water is extremely dirty off the African coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so grim. We'll
Yeah,
get
it
to it
looks
when we
so.
get to the water challenge, but
Yeah,
like, geez, yeah, it's not
it
clean
looked
water at
brutal.
all. I'm
Yeah,
used to watching Australian Survivor where you have these beautiful, serene
I
things.
know. Like I would not want to swim in this water. All right. So, then Amy gets sent to Immunity Island, and she originally doesn't want to lose her vote, but she does, and it means that Vuna can raid them next episode. So
Yeah,
Again, that's just really interesting.
yeah.
Not just the lost vote, but having a detriment to your tribe as well. And she tries to cover it, which does not go well for her.
Oh God,
But
no.
she does it so
yeah,
bad too. I was like,
Well, and it's funny because she also isn't great at covering up that she's a lawyer because like Nicole and Smash like at the end of the
it's so
season are
funny.
like we knew.
It's so funny,
what is it
especially.
with people trying to hide being lawyers? It's like, geez.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's been going on for like the whole new era, probably longer than that, of people hiding their being a lawyer or an attorney. So really interesting. So then we get to the tribal, and basically we do get Mike trying to like pitch that original Vuna stick together, which I think is a good like last minute pitch. I think it's the only thing he can really pitch is to try to get them to stick together. And
Yeah,
unfortunately for him, Chappies and Paula and Santony are just going to make the move while they have the shot to take.
I
So
did. I do agree. I made a note that I think Mike does a really good job, the best job that he can do in trying to talk sense into people and saying like, look, we don't have you don't have to get on with every single person,
yeah,
but numbers are what matters. And right now we have numbers, and we can have them going forward. He did what he could, and at least he made an effort before going. But yeah, it just wasn't enough.
right, right. So yeah, Mike is voted out 5-3. So any other thoughts on Mike as a player on this season? All right.
Yeah. Like, sorry, man. I got nothing.
Yeah. All right. Episode 4, there's some fun stuff in this episode. So Zamba raids and people are mad at Amy because she horribly tries to cover it up.
Yeah. Well, she tells them there's gonna be a raid. So then they hide all of the stuff, and then Dino and Anesu come, and that's fun. And speaking of that, Dino sent me the actual thing, so I'll show that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, cool.
There we go. Yeah. So it's basically what was on the show. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That yeah,
And then the only other item I have from Immunity Island I'll show now, Chappies. I know
let's
Jake.
go.
I know Jake would like that. So
Yeah. No, I think it's I think it's awesome like talking to Dino and being like he really just wanted to make the most of his time there, however long he lasted. And so he did the raid and the 2-on-2 challenge. And like I think that's amazing. I think that's something I take into account as well. Like I'll make the most of my time in like an org game or like whatever, no matter how long I last. So
yeah, like you did in the Big Brother one.
yeah, I made the most.
The Green Goblin blew up, baby.
Yeah, the Green Goblin, Jake the Snake, either name you want to use. So
Yeah, but so the tribe raid happens, and Sean is very rude. No, Sean is like, show me the freaking no, where we have no say. And then Paul is the rude one, just throws shit at Dino.
Yeah, because Amy tells them that she got a warning, so they bury all their stuff, and then say you've got to find it. I really like that Sean was like essentially saying either give us the stuff or I'm calling production. You're not allowed to do this. It's like,
Yes, yeah. Paul throws the Future Life box at Dino. And Future Life, smart nutrition for life.
There's
There
our
you go.
sponsorship deal.
Yep.
So we get the 2-on-2 reward challenge of Dino and Marisha versus Chappies and Warda, right?
Yeah.
Pushing the beam that we saw in Australian Survivor in a couple of seasons there.
Hmm.
And this is for the Survivor shop. And a quote I have here is Dino says he thought it was a challenge to see who had the best ass. So
No, fattest ass.
okay,
Ass.
fattest ass.
Yeah, because he also says, how does the Fat Cook get sent to face those monsters in a game of strength? And I had to look up. Fat Cook is a South African donut.
Oh wow.
He's very self-deprecating, which I
He is.
appreciate.
Yeah, I love that quote.
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, it's really funny. So yeah, Marisha's a monster. She did it all for daughter's birthday as well, which was a nice little moment for her. So like even like we're getting these small moments for these players that they are gonna make it a little bit into the game, but not make it super far. So I like these little moments, and like I would expect Marisha to dominate this challenge. Like again, she's the female He-Man, so
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. But there's a funny moment with the other tribe afterwards. Now we know what kind of strength Marisha has. Yeah, brute strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we get to the Survivor shop, and I didn't seem to put down what they
It was like a
got.
bunch. Yeah, because they had
They could
the choice.
either
Yeah.
they could either take 10 items for the tribe or 5
Yes.
items
Yep.
for the tribe and 2 for themselves, which I think is a complete layup. I think you take the 2 for yourself because 5 items taking back feels like
A lot. Yeah.
you've done the good thing. Like if you were taking back 4, it's obvious that there was really an option for 5, but the option to take back 10, no one would be expecting 10. So I think you could get away with taking the things for yourself here, but they choose to be good little campmates and take it for the
Yeah.
tribe.
Yeah. Then they take like like chicken, vegetable, just like a bunch of food. It was like a lot too. It was like even though it was 10 items, it looked more like 30.
Yeah, they really stocked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So after this, so then we see that a couple things. Paul pisses the women off. And yeah, this is where we get the start of Paul's downfall, which was just shocking to all of a sudden see that. Like maybe they could have done better build up to this, like because in the first few episodes. But I mean, yeah, we pretty much know Paul is going down throughout this whole episode.
One of the ways that they could have done it, because in this episode, like there were like 20 random shots of just Paul eating a sugar cane. So maybe instead of putting them all in one episode, just like spread them out. So then it looks like he's just doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're going to eat the tribe's food, that's never going to go well for you. Oh, wait.
No, yeah. Well, it does technically.
It depends if you're really likable, I guess.
I guess. And
We
then
also
Sean.
get, oh, sorry. We also get Sean come down with some kind of
Yeah,
awful-looking infection.
That
That's
looked
what I-
terrible.
yeah.
Awful.
That's exactly what I was gonna go.
It was
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah, he has the rash and like he's having trouble breathing, and so medical is to come in, and this is what they make him sit out the immunity challenge for this reason. But this is
And
crazy.
Nico is a savage. Where Nico says you need to sit out. He says, "Oh, can I just help with the puzzle?" And he just says, "You need to sit out." It's such a monotone.
Well, also to be fair, he says that Sean is out because he's on blood thinners, and if one of those crates hits him and he starts to bleed, that is going to be bad. So I don't blame him, but still, it's like this was the worst one for him to sit out.
Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if Sean, like, if they would have been guaranteed to win. I think Sean says at Tribal they would have had a better chance.
Yeah.
But like, unfortunately, like him sitting out, being one of the tribe's stronger members, like, it just ends up working against them.
And before the challenge starts, Nico asks Chappies how they're doing without winning any food, and then Chappies says our stomachs are running on fumes of instinct. It's like, damn, Chappies, you just came up with that. No.
Yeah.
Not the poet, yeah.
So yeah, Vuna loses again. or no, Zamba, sorry. Vuna wins again, Zamba loses. Another challenge. And so this is where Carla goes to Immunity Island and she gives up and leaves to help Warda out. And she comes back with the necklace and like to bluff it and lies very horribly about it.
Yeah, because she had the option to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when I was making my notes for this episode, as she was at Immunity Island reading out the spiel, I was writing a note. Why would you leave with the useless idol? Like what the point is it? And then as I'm saying that myself, she says, I'm going to leave. It's like, no, why? You're on the bottom.
Yeah, because she wants
thanks the other tribe for sending her, and then she comes back.
Right. That because she has to save Warda, apparently.
It worked out well for Warda,
yeah. But not us.
Yeah, not us. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and then I'm remembering you get like a great Chappies quote about like Carla lying and him like not believing her at all. I'm trying to remember what the quote was. I don't know if you guys have that one.
I don't have that one.
Okay.
I don't.
Oh, sadly.
Oh, sorry, Chappies. We'll have 57 more of your awesome quotes, so don't worry.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we do get to Tribal, and this is where everybody is actually like, I think Warda says some stuff to Paul of like, Paul's basically getting called out by the women for his attitude around camp. And like then Chappies is kind of jumping in a little bit to kind of defend Paul a little bit, maybe diffuse the situation. And like he's jumped on a little bit too, which I don't necessarily know that that's fair, but I get why people are pissed at Paul. So like, and yeah, so then Anela does vote with Chappies and Paul to gain favor with them, and kind of like because he made a deal with Chappies. And so then Paul is blindsided in a 5-2-1 vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
this is a really kind of uncomfortable tribal council with kind of Warda calling out everybody, like all the boys. I kind of felt Dawn in this. Like I understand, like if you're a woman playing and you feel like you're not being listened to or you're not being heard, like I get that, but I feel like Sean, especially, he was just trying to say, he wasn't saying that they lost the challenge because he wasn't playing. He was just trying to say, this was a physical challenge, and he would have been helpful in that challenge. And I think he was kind of misconstrued there, and that's not what he was trying to get across. But yeah, it was not the best tribal council for the boys.
Yeah, and like for me, the thing that annoys me about Warda is she's like constantly calling out the guys for what she thinks is like them constantly being misogynistic. Like Paul, fine. Like I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
I think it can be construed that way. But I don't think every man is just being misogynistic to the women this season. I feel like that's so weird for her to go down that route every single time.
Yeah. She reminds me a lot of Jean from Philippines, where it's like just hating men just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when Paul goes, his quote at the end is, "I'll probably be remembered as one of the fittest in the game." I got nothing. This is like, what?
I don't really remember him doing that much, like, super good physically.
Yeah, especially when you have Sean, Marisha, and Chappies. It's like, I would put those three of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I be totally honest? It's been a while since I watched it. Throughout talking about this, I can't actually remember who we're talking about, so I didn't remember him at all.
Yeah.
That's fair.
His biggest moment is "Help Me, Paul," and that's more for Dino. So
yeah,
like, all right. Episode 5. So this is the double episode, and this is the immunity and reward is for the hot dog feast, and the chance at immunities is like standing on a pedestal and like endurance type of thing, and so ends up being.
Also, don't forget, this is where the players get to choose what they're playing for.
Yeah,
because they can either play for food or they can play for a trip to Immunity Island, where only Anesu does with Drizo, who lasts about maybe 10 seconds.
They do this a couple of times in the season. I think it's a fun little way to do a challenge. It's nice to split it up like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and at least one of Nicole's best moments as well, where she's the only one to take on Chappies. Fun.
Yeah. This does set it up for like that finale moment of her beating Chappies. So like this is pretty good. So
Yeah. Plus, I liked how since Nicole won last, she was the last one standing. She actually gets a double portion of the bully rolls, and then she requests a pina colada instead of beer, and she gets it.
yeah, that was really good. All right, so yeah, Anesu and Terizo go for chance at immunity. Yeah, Vuna wins the hot dogs, and Anesu wins the tribal council pass, which is going to come into play later.
Yeah, big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this is basically safety without power.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I find interesting, and I like that South Africa kind of does this thing where they kind of rebrand like the advantages that we see anyway, but like they give them their own name for South Africa. I kind of like that a little bit, kind of give it its own unique flair a little bit. So
Just while we're on this tribal council pass as well, I've talked about when I fell in love with Nicole. This is where I fell in love with Anesu, where it's a memory challenge and you've got to recreate the thing, and she just says thing, pow, 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 victory dance, dances away, and says, and that's the yogi way. It's like, she's just so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, she killed that memory challenge.
Yeah.
Like that, I would not do that well at that. I'd probably like.
I know you. It's like Mike.
I get like the first few, and then I forget the last few.
Yeah, and the items look pretty like similar. So it's not like skull, a box, So it's just like that. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but after the challenge, they said tribal happens tomorrow night. I found that amusing because that's a full day to strategize, and that doesn't usually happen.
Yeah, I didn't catch that, but now that you say that, like that I actually do like that, like because usually when we get these doubles, it is that night. Like I'm just gonna ramp heroes versus villains when it's Tyson and James going down when the infamous Tyson voted himself off in that season.
Also for hot dogs.
Yes, also for hot dogs. Yes, so that tribal happens that very night. And so I just find that interesting.
There is also another example from South Africa, that the first tribal council, where that's where you get that lovely moment between Tom and Ace, where Tom shows one of his moments of niceness early in the season, and it's the following day that they go to tribal. So that's happened in South Africa a couple of times, but it's definitely not usual.
Yeah, it gives them more time to figure things out, and obviously like if that actually makes me think, like if that doesn't happen in South Africa, like Tom probably does go home first, because that's like his moment that saves him from going home first. So
social king.
Yeah, and then in this episode, this is where I really start to appreciate Kiran, because he offers himself as the backup vote if Terizo has an idol, which I thought was like a baller move. He's trying to get in, he's trying to get into this group. It's like, hey guys, just have me as the backup vote if she really does have an idol, which she made Dino believe, because as he mentioned, she got the parchment from Tyson and Anesu. Yeah, Terizo convinces Anesu to get Tyson to give Terizo the idol portrait. It's very confusing.
Yeah. I think this is a really risky move, but it's a really great move by Kiran. Like that he is willing, and this is something Dirty Harry did in All Stars. Is he like
we all got one in?
He offered himself up as like to get votes, and then it is a like sign of trust, and I think it actually gets people to trust you more as long as it works. So
knowing my luck, I would be the one going home.
Then Terizo does lie about the parchment, unfortunately pretty horribly, because I mean it pretty much gets like Marisha and like the girls to really go against her, which sends her home, and obviously gets Tyson to want to vote her out as well. So
he gets very mad. There's a brilliant Dino moment where Tyson's very angry with Terizo, and they're talking to each other, but they're talking in a different language. And Dino's in earshot and just kind of stood there, and he does like a Jim Halpert look to the camera. I was like, what?
And speaking of Tyson, he tells Dino, Nicole, and Keon to vote for him at Tribal. to get the votes on him, which I thought was a good move too.
Yeah, I absolutely. This is probably one of Kieran and Tyson's best moves together. So,
I was actually concerned about this though because they'd worked out the split, they had the plans, and I think it could have backfired with Tyson telling people to vote for him. It could have ended up messing up the split in that way, but yeah, it ended up working out.
Right. So yeah, Teresa is voted out. Did she also have a lost vote again, and so she didn't vote?
I believe so because it's only 2-1, and then 4 were canceled out. Hold on, let me go to the Teresa. She did not. This castaway lost the challenge on Immunity Island, thus they were unable to cast a vote. So it's probably from the last time she was on there.
Yeah, so she never voted this season.
Yeah, oh my God, you're right. I didn't realize that. You're right. Wow. Holy crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, at least Teresa got a second shot to at least get to vote. So in a season. So
it's crazy to get to episode 5 and not have to write anything down on a parchment and go and still not having to do it.
Yeah.
That's some new era bullshit there.
Yeah. And then on the other side, so Carla's targeting Chappies, and I know like Sean has the decision, like he actually does want to save Carla, right? And then I mean there's a moment when Carla is voted out and like Sean is really visibly upset about having to write Carla's name down. So
there's a really fun moment. So after the first tribal council, you go and sit on a jury bench, and Sean says, "We're preparing for merge," because that's the jury right there. And Nicole goes, "Cheers."
Doesn't it annoy some people?
Santony is distracted because apparently they put the food over to the side. It's like, come on, just eat it. And she's like, come on, just eat it. Yeah.
We can talk about that now because technically it's in the next episode, but while we're on it, this really annoys Carla, and she talks about Santoni, but I don't think like Nicole was just messing around. Sean made quite a shitty comment, not nasty, but just like, you're all going to be voted out, you're the jury. And she just has like a little bit of fun with it, and this just goes cheers. It wasn't malicious or nasty. I don't know why that was so egregious to her.
And plus, to be fair, Nicole was drinking a pina colada, so alcohol for the first time after like 10 days on an empty stomach. It's like, come on.
You'd be a little, I don't know, woozy or
you would be a little bit buzzed. That's the word you really want.
Buzzed. Yeah. Well, leave it to me to not know the terminology.
I'm feeling a little woozy here, Jake.
That I was thinking of Scream for a second. All right. Episode 6. So I didn't have time to finish more notes, but
before the reward challenge, which is the challenge.
I do remember this. Yes.
Michael touched on this, but Santony finds her new nemesis, and it's Nicole.
Yeah. See, I have an up and down relationship with Santoni. I think she's a really fun player, but she does get hung up and very emotional about certain things, and it really tempers her gameplay, and it can lead to some sloppy decisions. And as the season went on, I was like, I just don't agree with some of these takes that she's having. But yeah, do you have the quote, Matt, for Chappies that's really fun?
At the reward challenge?
Coming up to the reward. Yeah, it leads us into that challenge.
What? My second name is Water, and my third name is Swim.
Yes. I love that. Oh my God. Yeah. So Chappies becomes the new Aquaman.
Jake, if we ever get to speak to Chappies when you introduce him on the podcast, you need to introduce him as Chappies Water Swim.
I can do that.
Yeah. Francois, Chappies, Water, Swim, Chapman. It shouldn't be that hard to remember. Yeah, he almost has more names than Neo Wayne. Actually, I got that one in. And then this is a reward for coffee, tea, a coffee maker, and pastries. But man, this challenge looks fucking tough.
Yeah. So Chappies basically saves Santony and a couple other people while swimming, like even though they're on the other tribe. This is this is such a great moment, and like it was a complete human moment. But obviously like this also is great for Chappies' game as well as a whole. Because more trust, and obviously you're gonna like the guy that is willing to just like go out there and save you and forget about the challenge itself.
Do you know what I thought when I saw this incredible display by Chappies? Jeff Probst would lose his shit if he saw this. This is like Jeff Probst's wet dream. This is exactly what he wants from Survivor. Can you imagine Jeff's reaction to this?
Oh my God. Chappies carrying his team on his back.
Chappies is digging deep. That's what it's about on Survivor.
Yeah, man, this current looks fucking crazy because like there were multiple like wide shots where you see Anela and Santony like way past the other players' courts too. It's like they're way over there. Like so Chappie swam and got Anela, swam back, got Santony, swam back, got a puzzle piece, went up that ramp, came back, got another puzzle piece, came back up that ramp. Like and also fuck that ramp. That's a steep climb.
Well, and this was the same. It seemed like the same ramp from the first challenge. They were just obviously making the challenge slightly different, but like,
just like wow, it's like this is one of the most impressive because there was a moment where after Chappies comes back with his first puzzle piece, somebody said Sean has cramps, and Chappies just immediately just turns around without even talking. He just goes right back. It's like, man, he's so fucking cool.
It's arguably the most impressive challenge moment I've ever seen. It's incredible, and poor Chappies, they still don't win.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it was that puzzle, where you have to put the words in, and Dino and them got it. But then luckily, because of Chappie's amazing display, the other tribe gave some of the pastries to them.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yep, absolutely. This is also or is this later in the episode where Anela, or I guess this is after the third swap where Anela gets sent to Immunity Island for the first of 2 times in a row. Yeah.
But this is crazy. They do a tribe swap before the Immunity Challenge.
Yes, that was so
I don't know if
odd.
I've seen that before.
I've never seen it because, man, you really have no time to figure shit out.
Yeah, so I do feel bad for even worse for Dino than I already did, because it definitely felt like he really got screwed in this situation because of that. So
I couldn't believe that.
And another amazing Chappie's quote, speaking of the tribe swap, I went into the shadow of the valley of death in Zamba and came into the light. We're going to write some new chapters.
Yeah, this is speaking of improving someone's standing in their game. This definitely improves Chappies.
100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so then the immunity challenge. Which one is this?
It's the water basketball.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Because they're and it's like guys and girls taking on each other. So, I mean, I like this challenge again at Survivor Classic. We've seen it in international seasons and obviously in US Survivor a lot. So I do like this challenge. So the new Vuna does win the challenge, and Zamba is going to the tribal council, and here Santoni does find an idol, correct, in this episode, the one she does use.
Of course she does, yeah.
Of course,
yes,
why not?
Yes.
Well, there's also a lot more, so I'll just give notes because I know you did it. Finish yours. So as you said, this is when Anela is sent to Immunity Island, and he has to play cornhole to get an extra vote valid until first tribal after merge, and he didn't know what cornhole was. Like, man, anybody from the Midwest of America would fucking crush this. This is all we do.
I really love cornhole, so that would be one challenge I might actually be decent at.
Yeah,
never done it.
Oh my god,
it does take if you've never done it, it does take a minute. So I'm actually impressed he was able to get 3 out of 5 bags into the actual hole.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just the edit, but the time on these challenges seems so small. the amount of sand in that hourglass is absolutely tight. They should have just got a smaller hourglass. There's this massive big thing, and then there's a little bit of sand in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Then some quotes that Dino had after the challenge and the swap. I feel like all my friends got invited to the cool kids party. And then my favorite is Paranoid Dino isn't going to be paranoid, I think.
We spoke about yes, sorry. We spoke about me falling in love, and not the third time. But this time it's for Kiran. This is where I really love Kiran, and he's so Tyson is wanting to vote out Dino here, and Kiran says, unlike conventionally revenge being a dish best served cold, he would like to serve it hot and immediately to Dino.
I had that too. Yeah,
fantastic.
This is when Kiran starts getting like all the funny confessionals.
Yeah, I had early on that he seemed quite, I don't know, not like a game bot necessarily, but quite like reserved. And as the season goes on, he shows more and more of his personality, and he's a really funny guy as well as a great player.
Yeah, I really like Kiran. Again, we've talked about it. He's another one I would like to see return. We'll get to that much later in the podcast, but I mean, he is really, really good here, and as Michael said, really funny. So we get to Tribal, and this is where Santony is going to end up playing her idol and negating 2 votes, but they all voted for, or the majority voted for Dino anyway, and Anela is safe and can't vote. So yeah, unfortunately we lose Dino, but again, as we've said,
I'm sure things work out for him.
Yeah, things do work out. So I'm excited to talk much more about Dino and talk to him more later on. So
this is also where we get the confrontation between Water and Smash. That's like very odd and one-sided, and it's something that continues.
Yeah,
but she when all this happens, like Smash is just kind of sat smiling, and he doesn't seem to have a problem. I don't know, like we only get the edit, but she does have a funny line where she says, "I'm not low-key accusing you, I am accusing you," which is kind of cold, but Smash just sits there laughing.
I don't get it, because Smash just seems like a chill, laid back, fun guy, and I don't know why he's being accused of misogyny, because it never comes off that way during the entire season. So
no, but he also calls out hypocrisy because they came for him first.
Right.
You can't be mad when he's defending himself from a vote against him first. So I don't get that.
Yeah, for sure. Any final thoughts on this episode? Are we ready to hit the end of the pre-merge?
We can hit the end of the pre-merge because it's going to go quick with the person who also goes.
Yeah. So this is the Keon boot episode. So
Mike didn't even know who I was talking about until you said her name.
The person with like 2 confessionals the entire season, because unfortunately she just wasn't given anything.
As soon as this episode happened, she had like 3 confessionals in like the first 10 minutes. I know who's going.
I will say I felt really bad for her in this episode where she drops the rice, and God bless her. She's trying to pick it up grain by grain and wash it off, and like my heart just went out to her in that moment, because it's just a horrible thing to happen to you where you're already in a bad position. And then it did cut to making me laugh where as she's picking rice up grain by grain, and Ella's just stood there with the biggest smile on his face, like I guess I'm safe.
Doesn't Kiran make some sassy comment too about it, where he's like, she's spending so much time picking up all these grains of rice?
Yeah, bless her.
And then before she did that, Santony gets mad at Keon for saving food and not sharing, and then Santony has this great conventional where Keon is like, I don't want to eat in front of you, but don't want crumbs in my bag, and Santony just goes this.
Yeah, so good.
Jeez. Santony's emotional responses are hilarious.
Yes.
Oh my God. So is it just an immunity challenge, like, or combined reward and
Yeah,
immunity
it
this
is a
episode?
combined one. This is the one where they swim to get 3 keys, staircase puzzle, and then another puzzle at the end to win a Mexican feast. And the Santini breaks down before the challenge even starts because she doesn't want to swim because there's no Chappies to save me this time. And then Nico says, I will jump in and save you if need be. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Nico to
How
jump
quick
in.
can I get in the water?
Oh no, I can't swim, Nico. Oh.
Like,
Yeah. And Keon does like try to send a message over to the other side to send her to Immunity Island, but it fails and they send
they
Anela.
didn't care.
Yeah. So Anela goes back again. He's safe. And what did he have to do again for this visit?
He has to do nothing because let's go to the reward, which is the Mexican feast. It also includes videos from home.
Yes. Yep.
And this was sponsored by Outsource. Without Outsurance, you can trust that you always get something out.
Yeah, and this is going to come into play.
I am. I want that money. As Dino said, I need to be paid more.
And this comes into play in the next episode because this is where the deal gets made to keep this a secret from those who did not get to go, which Chappies does not do.
No, he doesn't. But this wasn't that. But Michael, how did you feel about this? Because not only do we get videos from home, we get letters from home, and then we get a loved one's visit.
You know what? Maybe I'm a hypocrite. It didn't bother me too much this season. I think I don't know why, but yeah, I don't think it was too long spent at it. And I did also love that. Maybe for the first time in the history of Survivor, I assume, someone was given the clue to an immunity idol by a family member on a video.
Yes, yeah.
They look behind you.
That was so weird. It's like Smash's brother is just like, look behind you, and then.
Yeah, I wonder if they had all the family members say that and then just keep it out. But it wasn't a immunity idol; it was a steel boat. Just a
steel.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But Anela, he chooses. He doesn't have to do anything because he just gets the Mexican feast and a video from home. It's like, damn, immunity island fucking rocks.
Yeah, this is great. All right.
One last thing on the messages from home as well. Renier is very relieved that his wife is wearing loose clothes so that they couldn't see that she's pregnant.
Oh yeah. Yep. All right. So then we're gonna get to tribal, and doesn't Smash get called out again? Which is just
probably. I'll assume
Oh my god. And then Keon just is voted out unanimously. So
4-1, but obviously she's not gonna vote for herself.
Right. I call that unanimous.
Yeah.
I know technically it's not, but yeah. I mean it would have been cool if she gave more so we'd get to know her on the show, but as far as just being a character on the show, she's I'm fine with her.
She was in the game. She played the game. She played Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Well, that is the entire pre-merge. So now we're on to episode 8 and the merge episode, where things start to get interesting, and both tribes are even at 6 original members each. And this is where we get to the feast. And I remember this is what will cause her downfall. But this is where Marisha decides to tell Santoni she is going to be safe for at least 3 or 4 votes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Bold move.
Crazy. Santoni's just like, oh, thank you. That's so kind of you.
Yeah, I hear that. And immediately I'm making a move. So...
before the merge, Renier finds the Vooner hidden idol. I just wanted to mention that because it'll probably come up later. But at the merge, all my notes are about Chappies. He openly looks for a clue. He loves his wine. And then he tells Warda about videos from home. We had a special dessert after the Mexican feast. And then he says, your husband recorded it, but you didn't get to see it. Like, what the fuck, Chappies?
I don't know. I understand Chappie's thought process.
Yeah, but I just think I think maybe if it wasn't to Warda,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting decision to do that, and it does burn bridges with like the people he was swapped with completely, which almost gets him voted out. So like I don't know. I don't necessarily think he was doing it to like, you
Yeah, I
know,
don't think. Yeah, I don't think he was doing it to be mean. It was just.
right.
I also think that's why it happened because I think Sean said Chappies is going to be drunk because Chappies was like down in that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And this merch feast was sponsored by Sun International. You'll love every moment under the sun.
There
I
we go.
love all these sponsors.
I didn't realize there was so many sponsors.
There were so many. I was like, oh my god! Every episode had a different one.
Yeah, yeah. Then we're gonna get to the first individual immunity challenge.
Before then, Anela plants his clues around camp to send Chappies on a wild goose chase.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Those are Rick Devons, yeah.
Yeah, again, I really like Smash in this season.
Yeah.
Like he's just doing some really fun stuff. So I don't know. I think if I was on the jury, I mean we'll get there at the end of this, but I don't know. I think I would have had a tough choice between the two, really.
Yeah.
So
And this idle hunt leads to a brilliant one where it leads Chappies to the shelter and he's trying to get underneath the shelter from the back and someone walks around and is like, what are you doing back here?
Oh, the tarp, it was a little bit loose.
yeah, I think it was Marisha that walks
Yeah.
behind and sees him doing that. All right, the first individual immunity. This is the poll challenge, isn't
Yep.
it? Yep. And Kiran beats Anesu at the end, which is going to be a thing for the next couple episodes of like Kiran's going to pull it out against Anesu, and they're going to have this little fun mini rivalry that will conclude with that move at the final 8. So this
Kieran
is
was the original challenge beast. Like,
yeah.
he
2 in
goes
a
on an
row.
immunity run and then just never wins it again.
Well, and the thing is, like, Kiran wins like these first 2 and doesn't like he's fine. Like he's not gonna be a
Yeah.
target because he's a challenge beast. So like he was well insulated for a little while. So like these weren't like necessary
Yeah.
wins or it didn't hurt his game.
I wonder
So-
if it would be interesting if it's something that once he felt he had a solid grasp on merge, that he stopped
Yeah.
trying overly hard at these challenges because
I
you don't want
think
to win
that
that many.
I think that was definitely like part of his strategy too. 'Cause he's like, well, I'm in full control here.
Right.
Speaking of full control, he sends Tyson to Immunity Island, but it doesn't matter because Tyson just gives up the and go option.
Yeah, this is where I think that option was the best thing to do for Tyson
Yeah.
to just come back. So
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting because then those kind of dynamics come into play where it's like, is what I'm going to get more useful than my vote is going to be? And
Mhm.
I do think that's a good gameplay dynamic to have to discuss that episode by episode. How much do I need my vote right now?
mhm. Yep. So yeah, I mean, anything else before we get to the tribal?
Oh, Marisha,
Uh,
she's so confident and she has a confessional where she's just like, bye Chappies, what a shame, it's terrible. And it's just seeing someone who's about to get blindsided be so confident that she's in a good position is
yeah.
kind of sweet.
Yeah, it's a good blindside that's about to happen. So basically Tyson gets told like he should play the idol on Chappies so that they can get the numbers, and like because Zamba has been very cocky and like obviously they do now recognize like the trio of women on Zamba needs to be broken up. So
I
so
will say as well that I think Nicole and Sean have really good sense of the game here because they see this coming. And Ella is like, I don't think we need to worry. And they say, what if they play the idol for Chappies?
Yes.
What if Santoni bequeaths or Tyson bequeaths his idol to whoever the other option was, Santoni,
Yeah.
I guess. So it's good that they see that coming, the iceberg on the horizon, whereas Anela has no idea.
well
Yeah.
and
Well, go.
I was just gonna say Anela is like playing both sides a little bit here, and I think that kind of hurts him. Like it's a very hard thing to play both sides. I've been in that position, and it's not easy. It can very much hurt your game. And Anela is able to overcome it to get to the end, but it might like kind of hurt him with this jury too. So
yeah, he was playing both sides of the tribal until he steals Chappie's votes. Then I think people know which side he's on.
Right,
then,
right.
So Tyson plays the idol for Chappies. Tyson also gives the Immunity Island necklace to Warda, and then Nicole convinces Renier to use his idol on Nicole. It's like, wow, this was a crazy tribal.
Yeah, because we forgot to say Renier found the idol at the feast, or it was at the the feast that they won with the loved ones. Yeah. And so two idols are played and everything, and unfortunately Renier plays it wrong, and Marisha is going to be the first member of the jury. So
and do you know what else happened?
Oh, yeah.
Marisha gives Nicole her jacket. Which is a nice little reverse Natalie situation.
Yeah, and Sean comforts a crying Nicole because this is very hard for her, which I understand.
Oh, it broke my heart.
Yeah, it was, you could tell that they were close. Like you saw the relationship for the first half of this season because you knew those, like the women were like a trio. So, all right. And anything else to say on Marisha?
She was fine. I had no problems with her.
Yeah, I didn't either. She had a couple nice character moments, a couple nice quotes. Like, she's just she's a fine first jury member. So, all right, episode 9, and so Zamba realizes they are now all of a sudden down in the numbers, and they realize they may need to get Santoni on their side and kind of play nice with her, and Sean's being told that he needs to do that even though he does not want to.
Yeah, he does not want to at all.
We also start to see some negative fallout for Anesu, where Santoni's upset because Anesu kept her cover intact by voting still with them, where Santoni became the fall guy in that vote. That's the first little fracture in Anesu's game there.
Yeah, this is kind of the start of her downfall a little bit. What else goes on in this episode?
The reward challenge is a tricky transfer where they have to carry a ball just through the obstacle course to a pizza and beer party. Santoni isn't picked, but chooses the correct team to win because, of course, you're going to pick Chappies, Tyson, Renier, Amy, and then I guess Warda, but whatever.
And she checks the sit-out bench for clues, which you should always do.
Well, you should always do, unless if you're Michaela in Game Changers.
Yeah.
Or Johnny.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Wow. Yeah. And then after Kiran loses this challenge, he says, being close to that pizza and not being able to eat it sunk to the bottom of my stomach, which was a long trip because I'm so hungry.
That was a good quote. I definitely, I'm remembering more of these quotes when you say them as opposed to like the past couple where I'm like, I kind of remember a little bit. But these are just like, I don't know. I think I just jive with this cast more.
Yeah, there's some really funny cast members and like great confessionals across the board. It's such a fun season like that.
Yeah, especially compared to last season, which was like three fun players and then everybody else.
Everybody else.
Yeah. So at the pizza reward, Santoni suggests that everyone openly look for a clue, and then Renier finds it and begs to go to Immunity Island to get the idol. And then Tyson and Ward are surprised Renier even asks that.
Yeah.
It leads to a really interesting dynamic, though, where the battle for immunity becomes less about immunity and more about someone from your side winning, so you can send an alliance member to Immunity Island to find that idol. So it led to a really interesting immunity challenge because of that dynamic. I like that.
Then we do get the memory challenge, individual immunity that Kiran does win his second in a row. So good on Kiran. And again, another Kagion challenge.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Let's go for it.
I got nothing on this challenge because it was just just a basic
Yeah,
water goes to Immunity Island.
but then she just does the give up and go because since her alliance needs her vote more. So.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, I remember, again, Sean is trying to make peace with Santoni to get her to vote with them so he can save himself, and like hoping that they might have a chance to pull off a blindside. Is Warda the target for Zamba here, or
yeah, because Warda gives the immunity necklace to Tyson, and then Sean goes 6-5.
Yep. And this Sean also then takes off his jacket as well, and gives it to his tribe. He gives it to Nicole, right? Or he gives it to
I don't know if he does, but that'd be hilarious. She knows two jackets.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember he takes off his jacket because he goes, then he just has his shirt on and gets his torch snuffed and whatever. So.
Well, he does like taking off clothes,
Well,
in his absence.
True.
If I was on the season and like two people who went out before me give up their coat, I would take off my coat and then just throw it into the fire.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because you gotta make that moment.
In like 3 episode time, Nicole's gonna come into tribal council like Joey Tribbiani, where he puts on all of Chandler's clothes.
Yeah. Could I be wearing any more coats?
Yeah.
We also get Amy telling Anesu about the idol clue and wanting to try and pull Anesu in. And again, this is just really good social play by Anesu, where she's just honest with her and says, I really want to work with you, but tonight is too soon. And I'd really like to, moving forward, build that, relationship and work with you, but it's just not tonight. And I think sometimes just that you don't have to lie and say like, yeah, I'm on board, like I want to work with, but just to say I am willing, but just not tonight. And I think that honesty is something that is appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anything else to say on Sean? I'll say like Tony in our interview with her called Sean one of the best looking men.
And she was hoping he would. Yeah, and she was hoping he would be on Return the Outcast, so then they could have like a little, romance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame her. I mean,
he's a good looking man.
He's a good looking rooster. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then next episode starts. And this is one of my favorite twists. I don't want it every season, but is see tied destinies. Like this is what orgs should do instead of the drag me option.
Yeah, tied destinies is an interesting twist. I know I've talked to Austin about this because we watched SA together, our first watch, and he thinks this is where the season takes a nosedive, which I disagree with completely. Wow. I think this season is amazing from here on out. So yeah, so I don't really understand that. I mean, like, it sucks because I think maybe like it could have been interesting if Anesu flips over like this round, because I think that's what she was planning to do, but then the Tied Destinies twist happened and that got thrown off. So
carry on.
No, you can go. I want to hear your thoughts.
So I said at the beginning, like some of these twists are some of my favorite. This is one of my favorite twists that Survivor's ever done. It leads to so much amazing content. Specifically, having them do their confessionals together is just such a unique thing that you don't see in Survivor. And having them talk strategy in it. Who's paired with Anesu?
Kiran.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kiran.
So it's someone she's actively going for. And you have them having these confessionals when you know that she's already working against him at this point. It's just so fascinating. I love the double confessionals. I thought this was a great twist. I did think it wasn't actually going to be another double elimination, which is wild that there's 2 double eliminations in this season. I thought both were going to be twists. So I thought like whoever goes from these tied destinies would end up having to do like a fire making challenge or something against each other. But no, it's another legit double.
Yeah, and I mean, most of these international seasons, they don't tend to have a double. It's usually single elimination episodes or non-elims. And this is might be one of the only South Africa like actual doubles, if I can remember.
Yeah. This is the only one I can think of. It must have been because of the episode count. There's 16 episodes and the 18 player, I guess. Because there were no cliffhangers.
It was 20 players and then
20 players and 16 episodes and it does make sense.
So I guess
give me this over non-eliminations any day.
Absolutely.
So much better.
Yeah.
I think this is part of what I loved about the season, because it is so fast paced and so much happening in
Yes.
16 episodes, double eliminations, crazy twists. It's great. We don't need long dragged out non-eliminations. This is so much better.
Oh, absolutely, Michael. Like I'm totally agreeing with you on that. And so it's interesting. So we get the Zombas are all paired up and the Vunas are all paired up.
Yeah.
Which is, that's another thing about this. Like it would have maybe been interesting had like they been mixed up. But it didn't hurt it. It didn't hurt the season for me. So
yeah. I didn't mind. Yeah. So then when they get paired up, it's immunity / reward where you have to hold up a pot with a leg to win a trip at the Wild Coast Sun, because you'll love every moment under the sun.
Oh my God.
And then Nicole wins, and then this is not a good move where she chooses where she says it is a no-brainer and chooses Renier and Amy to go with her and Anela.
Yep, this is the mistake I refer to. It doesn't affect Nicole, but or it doesn't end up affecting her and Anela, but it hurts Renier and Amy completely. So it sucks for them. I do wonder if she had made a different choice, do Renier and Amy somehow get their way out of this? I'm not sure. So, but they if they had a chance, they could have.
Yeah, so. I would like to say as well, I just found it so funny, and I feel like this is something that would happen to me. The fact that, getting that moment where you get Nico / JLP / Jeff's hand on the shoulder and the immunity necklace. Nicole wins it, but she also wins it for Smash, who was like either first or one of the first out. And him standing there getting his immunity necklace, having done nothing to deserve it, it's just funny. And the reward is like a water park. And if I've been starving on a desert island for weeks, the last thing on the planet I want to do is to go to a fucking water park.
I don't know, man, because you're the only ones there. I actually wouldn't mind it, but I would prefer the food and stuff. But obviously they did it so they could get the sponsorship from Wild Coast Sun, which I won't do the ad again. I already did it twice. But so they get what was it, brats and ice cream. And Renier's happy that he finally gets his ice cream.
And it's a sexy shower montage.
With everybody, because they do like a slow-mo for every person, not just your favorites.
Yep. Michael was like putting the love goggles on and then
it was my best day.
Then back at camp, this is one of the things I mentioned earlier where they kind of hint at Nicole winning, where Chappies says Nicole is the best balance player here. She's a massive threat. And then only we'll find out later, she does win the balance challenge to knock out Chappies.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. So I mean, we are gonna get to anything else before Tribal? I mean, Tribal is more eventful.
The only note I had was Anela is mad that the tribe found eggs, but isn't sharing with any of the reward players. Well, no shit. But this does come back later for Anela, where he comes up with a great plan to get some more food.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right.
I was just confused by this because I don't know if I missed something maybe, but so is it Operation Destiny that the plan to flip and take out Kiran and whichever pair that is that they're planning to take out and flip on?
I think it was Tyson and Warda.
Yeah, it was
Tyson and Warda. Yeah. So they originally cancel the plan, and then Anesu tells Chappies about her safety without power.
Mm-hmm.
So that changes things up, and they realize they'll have the ability to get extra numbers, and they seem back on board with it. But then it doesn't go that way, but we don't see that plan then fall apart. And I don't know if what Renier does at this tribal forces that shift, or they actually weren't on board. Because I thought this was crazy by Renier, where all he had to do was, toe the line and say like, "Oh, I'm in trouble, I'm going home tonight." But he goes crazy, and I thought maybe that shifted the vote back onto him.
Yeah, so I mean, he does the idle bluff and then won't show anybody the parchment at tribal council when they keep asking for it, and then Kiran and Anesu were like, well, we can't work with you now because you won't show us this. So Yeah, I definitely looking back because I thought first watch I'm like Renier was screwed. He had to do like whatever, but I mean he definitely misplays this tribal council. So on the rewatch.
Yeah. But he does play a piece of driftwood, and then Nico says that is absolutely not a hidden immunity idol or anything else of value.
Oh my
That
god,
is funny. Yeah.
it's great. Yeah, so Renier is voted out 6-4, and Amy, his tied destiny, is just eliminated because she's tied to him. So
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Amy was slightly interesting, but she also kind of, I don't know, she kind of fell off after like the couple episodes she had where she was like the raid and everything, and then she was just kind of there. Unfortunately, she didn't get as much content. But as for Renier, I really like Renier. Again, like I said, I think he has more potential to be a great player. A quote we didn't mention that I remember is the talk with him and Chappies like pre-merge, and they're like Chappies is trying to get Renier on board with them to like actually work together, and Renier's like, I'm just doing this to like pretend to be his little minion, and then I'm gonna take out the minion sword and cut him loose. So,
Yeah, Renier was fun. I liked him.
Yeah, and he's going to live forever with the
yeah, the pointing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, yeah, goodbye, Renier and Amy. Any other thoughts?
No, let's get to the next one.
Okay, this is where the season really starts to heat up. Like these last 6 episodes are really good, so I don't know what Austin's talking about, but
well, he's an
Hot
idiot.
take.
Yeah, he's an idiot. So
okay. So so this is a very, very interesting episode. So Matt, what do you have to start us off with? What's going on?
I don't really have anything before the reward challenge. So Michael, if you have anything, then
My note is just Tyson plots against Anesu. Anesu plots against Tyson. Exclamation mark.
I actually have that same note. Tyson wants to get rid of Anesu, and Anesu wants to get rid of Tyson, but there's like nothing else I could really add. So,
Yeah.
So the reward challenge then is throw the coconuts into a net to knock off puzzle pieces, and then do the puzzle. And then to win, you get a bride feast with letters from home, which you'll find out later. And they also get to test drive the brand new Mahindra Tar, because their range is always up to that challenge.
Okay, we're going to move on from the ad break. But we talked about how shitty it was that Rob got to have a car for a month.
Yeah.
Now they just get a test drive
Test
into a
drive.
damn picnic.
Yeah, and 4 people get to do that. It's like, no, about only one person's driving it.
I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out later. I'm sure that all 4 of them did some sponsorships and actually got the cars like Rob did.
Well, I can definitely see Chappies and Nicole doing it.
Yeah.
Maybe Tyson. Warda, I do not see her being able to get a sponsorship.
No.
She has a better chance. I mean, I have a better chance of getting a sponsorship than her.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What's after that?
Michael, I've just have something else, but nothing major. Like Santini is mad that Nicole was picked over her.
Yeah.
Things are getting serious, and serious Santini is a bitch, is what Santini does in a confessional. So yeah, and then the immunity challenge. If you have anything, Michael.
Before we get to immunity, this is just where we get Kiran sensing that something's off, and I think that's why Kieran's such a fantastic player. He had such a good read all the time of what was going on. Even when he was going home, he just knew he was done. Like there was never anything that really blindsided Kiran. He was aware of everything. He says, "I know something is up to date, and we need to be ahead of it." Smashes, give me a name, and I'll do it. And Tyson says to Smash, let's just see how the challenge goes. And I love this from Kiran. Kiran says, no, we're trusting him. We have to give him a name. And if you're trying to get someone in, if you're being dismissive with them, you're showing that you don't trust them. And Kieran's saying, no, I'm trying to give you my trust. I'll give you the name. So I just think it's great play from Kiran that really holds that group together, whereas Tyson's a bit more, abrasive.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the immunity challenge is the keel hauling from Srava Karamoan, where they have to go keel hauling and then put the the ring on the pole, and this is where everybody but Chappies and Nicole goes for food, and then Chappies waits for everyone to get to eat, and then puts the last ring on when Nicole's about to get there. So,
but he's selfish, Jake.
Yeah, he's selfish.
yeah. Apparently he didn't do this according to Warda and Tyson. So.
Yeah, I would hate to do this.
That Nico actually brings that up later as well.
Yes.
Same. This job would suck. Now I know why Philip Shepard Damon do it. It's like I would hate to do this one because I don't like going underwater. I don't mind going underwater, but like underwater when there's wood above you, like that would probably freak me out.
Yeah.
Underwater?
Yeah, underwater.
Like the player?
I see what you're saying. Okay. It took me a second. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Yeah, I don't want to do that either.
What you do on your own time's up to you, Matt.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either. That was a good one. It took me a second, but that was a good one.
Thank you.
Oh, jeez.
That's my move of the episode was fun work by Michael. And then Chappie sends Santini to Immunity Island where she does the stickball maze, but fails and loses half of her money at the auction. But yet somehow she finds another hidden immunity idol at Immunity Island.
Yep.
And this is the introduction of the fire idol, but she doesn't win it at this thing. Yeah. But I think the fire idol is a fun twist on the idol. Again, it's just fun little twists on things that are already established. And like we talk about US Survivor, the forced fire making at 4, which like sucks. I love the idea of an idol that forces fire making because at least it's gameplay involved.
Yeah. Is this also AK had this in All Stars, right? The Australian. I don't remember. Yeah, because AK went to fire against Moana, I think.
That wasn't like a
it wasn't
something he played. It was
it was a twist. It was just okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was the only other time I could remember where that was outside of Final Four.
Yeah, because I think he chose to do it because it's like if you don't feel safe tonight, you have the option to make fire.
And obviously he's going to do it because it's the only chance he has to stay. So
I think that was just production desperately trying to save the minority from David's wrath.
yeah, exactly. And they failed. All right. So at this point we're gonna get to the tribal council and we're gonna get a blind side of Anesu, which is very, very crazy. This is really like the major turning point of the season. I think Smash and Nicole clearly make the right move by taking out Anesu. So
I just have a couple of things before the tribal council.
Yes.
This is Kiran putting the plan for Anesu in place. And Kiran has a confessional where he says the Vuna Six have all agreed that Anela is going home tonight. Utter bullshit. It's so funny that he just knows that this is all lies. And he pulls in Warda and Warda's surprised that we're doing they're saying Anesu. She's like, we're doing Anesu. And Kiran says, yes, don't fuck this up. And we get a fantastic final confessional for Anesu as well. That's so fitting where she says, I think it would be super ironic if Kiran and I were both making big moves against each other. And that's exactly what is happening. And it's just so good.
Yeah. This was really, really something. And like it sucks for Anesu, but she really is the turning point blind side of the season. And I think she's great. I would love to see her play again.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't believe she wasn't there.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know if like you could apply the same logic until this happened, she wasn't really an outcast. It was just like a blind side that happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
I hate that that's the parameter though. Like
right.
It's self-imposed. Bring out the best players you got.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Have you got any more on this, Matt? Before I go.
No, I got nothing else besides tribal.
Okay.
Oh well, I was going to say Anesu does hand Chappies the tribal council pass.
Yeah.
I've got lots to say on that.
Yes.
But one funny thing just before we get to that, Nico says to Tyson, you're going up against someone called Aquaman, and Tyson says, and I'm black. which is really cracked up every single person. And I laughed out loud. That was Tyson's best line of the season. So funny.
Yeah, it's very good.
But yeah, like you say, we get Anesu giving Chappies the tribal pass, and I hate this. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I just hate it.
So I get like the dislike for this because she got voted out with it. She shouldn't necessarily have to will it down to somebody else. So I don't know. I'm like mixed on it. I think it makes something a little more exciting that it's actually going to come into play, but I totally get like the dislike for it. So
like, I just think for the purity of the game, of what is the reason that you vote someone out as an idol?
Yeah,
to flush it. Yeah,
to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you just pass it on, then there's no point doing the blind side. It makes no sense to me, and I just think it's so unfair. And this was a huge move by Kiran to get rid of Anesu, who not only has something but is a huge threat. And the fact that she can just pass that on, I was so stressed after this episode that Kieran's going to go home next. Yeah. And if if this season would have like went downhill very quickly for me if this had caused Kiran to go home in the next episode, because I just don't think you should be allowed to do it. I think it's so unfair on the players left in the game, especially those that pulled off the move.
Yeah, well, this also happened also in 2021 where
Brains versus Braun.
Yeah, and Brains versus Braun, and then they changed the rules. So at least they both realized. At least it happened twice, and then like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah, and I know we talked about that with Kez giving it to Flick in that season, and we didn't like it. So I agree. I think that shouldn't have been allowed. So, anything else to say on Anesu here?
Yeah,
thank you for playing the game. You are fantastic.
I like her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought you didn't like her. I thought you were joking.
What? No, I actually liked her. No, she was, she was fun. Yeah. And speaking of, sorry, go.
I was just to say we are going to see her again before the end of the season, aside from on the jury with the reward twist. Yeah.
You said I thought there was like some announcement. You said you were going to say her again. And my heart just like
skipped a beat. Then in episode 12, it starts off with Chappies. Sometimes when things look like a curse, it's a blessing. When Anesu left, she gave me this powerful little disc, and then he just holds up. I just found that fun.
Yeah,
it's not a disc; it's a rectangle.
Yeah, I know. I'm not. But that's what he said.
Come on, Chappies. But I know that's what I'm saying. Come on, Chappies, get it right.
But we immediately get into Chappies Diner and him stealing food, and it's just such a good way to kick off the episode. This might, just because like the controversy it causes, and like I love how Nico handles it. So like I don't know, this might be one of my favorite episodes of the season. Like it's just so good.
Austin's crazy. Like it's such good content.
Yeah, it's so good.
I have so many notes on Chappies Diner. It's like he says, "How do you count sand? How do you count rice?" And then when Warda is talking about the rice, Chappie goes, "No, what concerns me is the amount of rice we have left." Even though he knows he's stealing it. And then if Warda knew I was stealing rice, I'd be a target. Not to mention the coconuts I steal. It's so good.
I love throughout the season, like we're gonna see it. Chappie's like taking coconuts out of his bag multiple points too. Like even when he gets voted out, he's just throwing coconuts back.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Like this guy is amazing.
Yeah.
I just love that it's like a slow burn as well. Like we see his diner, and then over the course of the episode, we see the unwinding of it, and they search his bag and find sweets. It's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, my only other note is a ad for Chappies Diner. If you're out on an island and you're free from sunset to sunrise and you want some food, come to Chappies Diner, where you too can be Aquaman.
There you go.
Perfect.
So we also get auction.
Yeah.
Yes. The Survivor auction.
Nico Bucks.
Oh my God.
I love how. And I'm just going to say this now. Nico has this great quote during the auction. Like my wife says, do you even know what one Nico is worth?
Yes, that was such a good quote. Oh my God. See, I just remember so much more in this season. It's so good.
and we get Nicole winning the beggars plate and
Yes.
just
So
stealing
it's so
people's food
great.
from the bath.
Yeah. So she gets a bath for by default. Like, and she only had to pay $100 for the beggar's plate. What a
Yeah.
steal.
Yeah, I like the Beggars Play. I mean, we first saw Luke do it and then Shane Gold in Australia, and they were both fantastic with it. Like, I love this twist at the auction. Like, get everything else that gets sold. It's a lot of food for while you're starving, so I'm not sure that how people are able to like eat all. I mean, you're starving, but like your stomach has shrunk so much. So like, I don't know. That just must be like crazy to eat that much.
Yeah, and then she also got the vet cook by default because nobody bit because Wardot traded it for a bag of rice. So Nicole gets these two big sandwiches. I had to look up what it was, and it sounds really good.
But it's even funnier as well because Nico is gonna have it. Because no one bids, and Nico's like, "Oh, cool, I'll have this," and Nicole's like, "Can I have it?" And he's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. So yeah, Warda gets the bag of rice for the try, which again is going to come into play at the end of the episode.
Yes, it will.
Oh boy. All right. Anything else before the next immunity challenge?
Nope.
All right. Chappies wins.
Santini is mad that Kiran gave his money to Warda when he bought himself out of the auction, and everybody knew that Santini only had half the money to start with. So that's something.
That's
He's not working with it.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah.
See, this is where Santoni just starts to grip because it's like, yeah, he's not in your alliance.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can see it. Santoni's kind of mixed. At some points, but like, and we'll talk about it when it gets to the jury, and she just refuses to vote for Anela, like because of one comment. She just won't. I hate when jury members do that. I personally think you should be at least like hear everybody out, even if your decision is somewhat made up because you had a close relationship with someone or whatever. I would at least hear everybody out. So
yeah, like I do still love Santoni. I think she's a fantastic part of the season and like a huge character. But yeah, there's just sometimes where those little outbursts grate me.
Yeah. So yeah, the next immunity challenge, Chappies gets his second individual immunity in a row. It's the ropes course that Tyson and Boston Rob have both won in the past. So yeah, I mean, this challenge is cool. We haven't seen it in like years, but
yeah. And then Nicole gets to send herself to Immunity Island because she won that Immunity Island pass in the auction. And then she gets one of the easiest things ever to win the Fire Idol. Stack numbers 1 through 100. I hate this challenge every time I fucking see it. I hate this.
Yeah, it's a dumb challenge, to be honest. Like, everybody can count, I would hope. So
I know.
And she does seem to have more time than the other challengers as well. She still had loads of time left when she won it.
Well, and how like you can't even make this challenge look exciting.
Like, I know. You really can't. Then my only other notes before my favorite tribal council is there's a shot of Chappies working out with a rock while people are complaining about Chappies Diner and him stealing food. Like, yeah, he's definitely getting some fuel. If you're able to work out with a rock 28 days into Survivor, you're definitely doing something right. And then another slogan I came up with for Chappies Diner is, when you leave Chappies Diner, you'll be the winner at the end of the day.
How many have you got?
I got a lot. I got a lot.
So yeah, also this is where Warda decides to, obviously before Tribal Council, take the rice with her, and Chappies does an Indiana Jones bag swap.
While she's next to him too.
It's so good.
Right next to it. Yeah.
I love this moment, just replacing it with sand without her knowing, and then it comes out at Tribal. All right, we ready to hit this Tribal? And
let's do it. This is my favorite Tribal council.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
So Uncle Nico or Daddy Nico is called on to settle this quarrel between all the like siblings and like over the food, and yeah, so Chappies is accused of cheating. Warda wants to speak to the manager and wants Chappies to get like banned from the game.
Yeah, I don't know what she really wants, but yeah,
Yeah.
I guess just taken out.
Yeah, and so like wants there to be consequences. Tyson is being really disrespectful, and like yeah, and then basically Nico basically calls them all out on their hypocrisy, which is hilarious. And like, oh my God. And then like Warda gets called out for trying to steal from the rest of the tribe with the rice, and oh my, it's
But
gold.
Nico, it's like 15 minutes in when Nico steps in because he doesn't get a chance to speak.
Yeah.
It's just back and forth, back and forth. And at this point, I think this is where you need to watch the jury because they're really going hard on Chappies, and Chappies is just smiling and laughing through it and having fun.
Yeah.
And they're getting angrier and angrier, and the jury are finding it funny too. The jury are on Chappies' side here. So I think you just got to read the room at that point, and like, I know you're hungry, but go get more food yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I have a bunch of notes on this one.
Yeah.
I love when Chappies keeps calling Nico Your Honor. He's like, I've made my point, Your Honor. And then when Santini tells about Warda's plan with the rice, Chappie goes, "Oh my soul!" And then you hear from Sean and then the jury. That's so Warda. It's like he knows she would do that. And then when Nico's going around, so you're guilty, and then he gets to Chappie's, you're definitely guilty, 100%, maybe even 110, maybe 115.
There is also a drive-by on a former player where Tyson says to Chappies, you might as well be fast-tracked to the final. You'll get the same amount of votes as Doral.
Yeah, Warda says you'll be just like Doral. Yeah, it was so amazing. I'm like, wow, poor Doral.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, drive-by out of nowhere.
Like he hasn't been humiliated enough in the previous season.
I really didn't expect that. Like, and I just didn't remember that quote being there. I'm like, wow, this is gold.
So man, this tribal is so good. I just remember the first time I watched this, I was like, oh, tribal, there's 20 minutes left. And then it's just like 15 minutes of them all talking, and you see Nico's just face be like, and he's just smirking the entire time.
Just shows his strength as a host too. I mean, like Nico really should be in the conversation with JLP and Jeff more, because he's so good here. Like they are really a big three for hosts. So,
I think it's really good that they've, in terms of hosts of Survivor, they've done such a good job of. You'd think, especially trying to recreate what Jeff did for Survivor US. They've nailed it every time, like JLP and Nico, and I love Joel as well.
Yeah, we talked about Joel.
Have done a good job. Yeah.
I haven't hated any hosts yet, so they've all had their strengths, and like I like all of them.
Yeah.
So, all right. So then Chappies plays his tribal council pass on Anela, and then Santoni plays her idol, and Warda is sent home with 2 votes.
Yep.
By Warda.
Kind of fitting into this crazy tribal council.
Yeah.
And it won't be the first time she's voted out this season.
Yeah, this is like the first of the 2 times I was just so satisfied with her being gone.
The next episode, I don't have much before the reward, but I know we're running a little bit long. Reward challenge is just hold the pole above your head on beam while bouncing statue because it's the family visit. And then my favorite part of this is when Santini's sister comes out. Santini says, "Did you see how hot Nico is?"
Yeah.
Yep.
So good.
Yep. And you have Chappies with his wife who is trying to conceal the pregnancy, but you do have this great moment of like Chappies asking about his son or his unborn baby. I didn't know if he knew it was a boy or a girl yet, but this was such a great loved ones visit.
Yeah,
and this is where we first got our mention of the League of Shadows as well, which is an important alliance coming into this end game. So so that comes up, and then we also get to the crazy idol situation where Kiran uses Nicole's brother to help him get an idol, and he does it.
Yeah, and then afterwards, Nicole's brother's like, "Oh, I'm an idiot. I should have helped you."
It's crazy. I honestly thought Nicole was going to go because of this, which would be so brutal.
Oh my God, that'd be awful. Yeah, I mean, anything else before another Chappies win for immunity?
Go.
You go. I do have one again on Nicole, where she really does sum up Santoni for me, where she says she lies and she cries, and then when other people lie, she's like, "How dare you?" And it is that kind of duality and hypocrisy there that I just don't like.
Yep, I understand that. So
and then the immunity challenge is just between Chappies, Anela, and Santoni, because when Chappies won the reward, he got to pick 2 players to go up against immunity. I do not like this twist. I think everybody should have the same shot. But then Chappies easily wins, grabbing a hook on the ring and then do the famous ball maze.
Yep. So this is the ball maze, and this challenge I really like. This is one they can make look exciting because I remember this Mike Holloway winning it in Worlds Apart, and this being like one of his most exciting immunity wins because it was like so close. Like I really like this challenge.
Yeah, so. I agree with Matt. I don't think this is a good twist. I'd take it, especially when Chappies is already dominating the challenges, giving him power to choose who he goes up against and beat again is kind of crazy.
Yeah, this is a very weird twist decision for sure. I don't know if it mattered as much because I feel like Chappies probably wins anyway, but I mean you never know. You never know.
Yeah, so a bunch of stuff happens before tribals because Santoni pushes for a 2-2 split, so then they can avoid all the idols and fire making. Then Anela tells Kiran Santoni's plan. Then Anela tried to explain that Kiran's plans to target Nicole was a bad move for his own game, and then it's just like so much happens.
Yeah, so Anela blows up Kiran, and so this is where Kiran gets justifiably very upset.
Yeah, this was a crazy from immunity challenge to tribal is just a crazy 20 minutes or whatever it is, where I do think I understand Kieran's logic, but I do think he overthinks this a little bit, where if he just goes along with the plan to take out Santoni, I think this is a very simple vote and a very easy tribal council for him. I get that he's trying to break up Chappies and Nicole and what's his plan here? I did understand the logic, but I forgot it.
Anela tried
break up the 2 pairs.
Because it was gonna be 2. It was gonna be Santoni's Chappies, Anela, Nicole, and then Kiran and Tyson.
Yeah.
And so then Anela wanted to break that up. That's all I really remember.
Yeah, so it's so Kiran will have an advantage. No matter who goes from the next tribal council, whereas if he takes out Santoni, it leaves pairs in the game and he's kind of in a difficult position, which I do understand, but this sets Anela against him, and if they just stuck to the easy plan, Santoni goes and it's a pretty simple one, but then Anela gets cold feet.
Yeah, this is so weird, and then he doesn't get cold feet and they go with the plan. He goes with the plan anyway, so it's very odd.
Yeah, so it's 5 minutes out from tribal and he goes to Kiran and says, I was planning on blindsiding you tonight, and the look on Kieran's face is hilarious because has that happened?
I'm sure it has, and it doesn't work well anytime it happens. I think this is probably where Anela loses the game.
Yeah, I think this is a bad move.
Yeah,
he looks so perplexed, and it's Kiran has a fantastic confessional where he says it's the most amateurish gameplay I've ever seen on Survivor. It's perplexing. What a stuff up. I can't really see the end point to Anela's game plan.
Yeah. Yep. Smash was doing well except for this. So,
I do think there's something interesting about Smash here because it's something that happens a lot with his game, where he's very concerned about who the move belongs to, and it happens a few times to him. And the reason this falls apart is because he wants to put the votes on Kiran, and Nicole and Santoni want to split the votes in case of an idle play. And it's that switches his mindset, because Smash says, "This isn't now my plan. It's been changed, but it is still your plan. You're just doing it in a safer way." So it's just interesting that he changes it up just because it's not exactly how he wanted to do it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So yeah, we head to Tribal, and we're gonna get Nicole plays the Fire Idol, and Kiran plays his idol, and ends up being what, a 3-2
0.
Yeah.
3-2-0. Yeah.
Yeah, 3-2-0. And so Santoni and Tyson, Santoni got 3 because Anela still votes with Kiran and Tyson gets the 2. And so they're going to Fire. So
Yep. And my note was Santoni blocked the damn wind, because she would have won. Was just like the wind just got blowing it, and she was blocking it from the wrong side.
yeah. So Chappies loses his closest ally, unfortunately.
I was very surprised. I honestly thought Santoni was going to the end.
Yeah.
It just again gives kind of like Chappies. Santoni's a player that I was aware of just from seeing like Survivor South Africa play. She's one of the ones that I recognize. But also this Tribal, this is where, like you said, Kiran just goes crazy and puts everything out there on the table, and throws Anela under the bus. And Anela says, "I was playing with my heart over my head, and now it's been thrown in my face."
I know how that
nice
is.
little summary. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate. All right. Santoni going, I mean, again, a big character that is surprising that she wasn't brought back for Outcasts, but then
you're like, who would you knock out from the merged tribe? It's like there's this like I don't
think you can knock out anybody. So
Anesu and Kiran should have been there.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred those two. If they extended like the cast to like 24 people, then I would have preferred those two over Santoni anyway. But
last thing on Santoni before she goes as well, it's another great quote from Kiran where they're having their argument, and Kiran says, "You can't play the predator and then play the victim," which again is just such a good line. I love Kiran. He's so good.
Yeah, he's very well spoken for sure. So we're ready to hit episode 14, and we are nearing the very end. So what you got for us, Matt?
Not much before the reward challenge. Michael, do you have anything? Or
it's really funny when they get back from the fire making challenge, and obviously it was very close, and Tyson almost went, and Kieran's like, we were all like, "Oh shit, there goes Tyson." And I will say as well, Tyson has a fantastic line at the end of that fire making challenge where he turns around to Nicole and was like, "You shouldn't have played that damn fire making fire idol."
Yeah.
And then for the reward challenge, before it starts, Chappie says, "From now on, people will experience Chappie 3.0. Like, good God, man, he was already a beast at 2.0.
Yeah.
He's gonna go Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And then the reward challenge is place leaking buckets on a totem pole. It's just kind of like it was kind of boring one. I guess they ran out of money, because they must have run out of money because they only won steak and mash. But apparently, Chappies and Anela only shared one plate. They didn't get their own. Wink.
Yeah. Fun little lie.
Yep. So they have the Smash and Chappies conversation that gets shown. I'm trying to remember the specifics of the conversation, but
it's basically that they just said they shared what was shown instead of them having their own. And then I felt bad for Tyson at this moment, because he actually felt bad for Chappies and Anela because everybody else ate so much rice.
Yeah.
This is also where Kiran steps in as the minister of rice, and he gives me this, and he gives this great quote: "I cut Chappies off at the knees, or more at the fingers."
Yep. All right. Immunity challenge time. If we don't got anything else.
How was the terror?
Yeah. But before that, Kiran and Anela catch Chappies at his diner because, as Anela says, Kiran knows his pot is missing, and we only have one kleptomaniac in this camp.
Such a good line by Anela.
It's so good.
It's really funny when they like both creep up on Chappies at his diner, and then he sees them, and he's just like, "Hey guys,
you can join us. Yeah,
Join us.
you can come join." But yeah, the immunity challenge is just swimming to get a bunch of keys and colored balls. I do love the actual puzzle where it's like the balls where you have to like move. It's like an actual game.
Yeah, it's a really cool challenge. I was trying to like understand it more looking at it, but I didn't like. Yeah.
Poor Nicole shows that tenacity again, where it's she just keeps jumping off that tower, but she can't reach the key.
Yeah.
Just like Adam Klein in Winners at War.
Yes. Yep. All right, so Chappies wins his 4th challenge in a row, and at this point, Nell and Nicole are, of course, going to split up the other pair in Kiran and Tyson, and Kiran is unfortunately screwed. So,
did Kiran get any votes at the previous one where he played as idol?
One. Yeah, you skipped a little one.
Yeah, I mean it's difficult, but I do feel like Kiran saw the writing on the wall, and the difference between 6th and 5th is nothing really. It's still a place on the jury. I think, causing so much chaos with your idol, I think at that point, if he saves his idol and he can get through this tribal, like if he knew all this episode, he knew he was going home. So if you know you're going home in this episode, no matter what, just make a big play and try and hold on to that idol. I think that's like maybe his one mistake, not at least trying that.
Yeah, but then at this tribal, Nico asks Nicole this. Nicole, where does this leave you now? And then Kiran pipes in as the funniest person left in camp. It's like that one.
It was a disappointing tribal council because they just talked about food. They just talked about like basic stuff. There was no real attempt that we saw from Kiran to change anything. He was just very much like, let's make tonight.
I think he knew. Plus, also Tyson's injury is also a reason that he was cut. As well. I think he may have hurt himself, but maybe he was like acting it up because I don't know.
That gameplay, it's really good, and it never comes up that it is gameplay.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think Kiran was screwed. Again, if you like know you're screwed and you've pitched everything you can, as I can relate to, like there's nothing you can do. So I don't know.
It's a shame. Like Kiran was fantastic. I really loved him this season. Like one of my absolute favorites.
Same.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked him a lot too. So all right, well, episode 15 and a very perplexing decision by Tyson that is tried, like justification tries to be said by Tyson, but I mean he should have tried to keep himself in the game.
So this is crazy. Backing up to the start of this episode, we get more content from Chappies Diner where he finds coconuts and sugar cane, and maybe my favorite Chappies quote of the season, where he says, "The early bird catches the worm, and the early Chappies catches more coconuts than sugar cane."
Yep, I have that one. I have that one too. And then there's a moment where
he says "early Chappies." It's so good.
Yeah. And then Nicole and Anela do a dance because they find 2 coconuts, and then Chappies has just found like 10, and then he just pops up with 1 coconut, and they're all having 3 coconuts for the tribe.
And he's just got a stash. I think he said he's got like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And then this is the reward challenge where they win the chance to speak with a jury member, right?
Well, this is the immunity and reward.
Okay, so this challenge is like they have to solve like the puzzle and
it's like the stair puzzle. It's like the stair puzzle and all that.
Yeah, so Chappies wins both, and also the opportunity to remove a juror as well.
Yeah, which he doesn't find out until after he
after
has his meal
Anesu
with
leaves.
Anesu, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the meeting with Anesu. I think this is cool to get to speak with a jury member and get the perceptions of what you can do if you make it to that final tribal in a couple rounds. So I actually quite like this, and then you find out. I don't like the jury removal part of it,
Yeah.
like although it's
I
Warda,
do,
so
yeah, but yeah, I do like I would like if they would just if he was just been able to talk to Anesu
Yeah.
and get some more details.
Right.
But yeah, but as you said, I don't mind the twist because it was Warda. If it was Werner, I'd be pissed.
Yes, absolutely.
Like what I really loved about this season is Survivor. We've seen so many seasons. There's so many great subversions of what you expect in a moment. So it's same with the loved ones challenge where Chappies comes up and he's expecting to say he has to choose which loved ones come with him, and they flip it and it's not that, and everyone gets their loved ones. Here I was expecting it to be a jury removal, and when he gets the opportunity to have dinner with the jury member instead, I was like, oh, that's so cool, and that's so much better than jury removal. And then they also hit us with the jury removal. But I love this idea of having a one-on-one with a member of the jury and discussing that game. And Anesu was the perfect choice to
Absolutely.
discuss the ins and outs of the game with.
Yeah, and that I mean, I felt pretty confident at this point. Like, obviously, if Chappies makes it to the end, he's gonna win. So, I mean, he has everything he needs to, make the perfect speech and everything and know what the jury is thinking. So, but yeah, so, I mean, there's only 4 left, and I think, it's clear, like, Anela and Nicole are going to vote together and stick together, and, initially, Chappies does want to vote out Tyson, but then they find out at Tribal that it's going to be a final 2, which, I mean, you can tell by the number of days that it is probably going to be a final 2. So I was a little like, Chappies.
It's like, come on, guys. Yeah. This is why I always get mad that people complain Suri lost Micronesia because she got screwed. If you count the days, she did not.
Yeah.
And also, sorry, carry on, Jake.
No, you can go.
So I also, how the wording of things are at this point in Survivor. If you don't get you have won, I mean, you now have your shot to pitch your case to the jury, and it's the same thing with Tony or Spence had to tell him, like, no, that wasn't final immunity. You should have cottoned on by that point. But it leads to a very interesting tribal council where he has a long conversation with Nicole and being like, I'm voting for Anela.
Yeah. So at that point, so we get to Tribal. Chappies realizes this and tries to get Tyson to vote with him against Anela, right? And Tyson instead refuses and votes for Nicole, and it is a 2-on-1 with Tyson going home.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Because Chappies was having the conversation with Nicole.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think he's saying? Well, I'm going to vote you out.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's saying that it's Anela.
Yeah.
Or at least, ask. Everyone's talking at this point. Ask Chappies what's going on. Take him aside and whisper to him.
I almost think, like, Tyson had, like, a mindset of he might have been ready to, like, go a little bit. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe not, but, like, it just seemed that way. So it's tough. But yeah, Tyson absolutely makes a really dumb move, even though he tries to justify it of like, well, it would have been better for my game if I was banking on like Anela voting Nicole out with me. But like, why would you bank on that when it's been very clear those two are going to stick together?
Yeah.
So
great.
Like, I don't know. So anything else to say on Tyson?
I was relieved he went. I'll be honest, because I thought of the final 5, I honestly thought there's a chance Tyson's going to win this, and I thought he was the one that I wouldn't be happy with as a winner, whereas everyone else I'd have, people I'd be happier than others, but I was happy no matter who wins at that final 3.
Yeah, agreed. All right, finale time, and sad knowing that, especially next season, what Chappie's fate is going to be instead. But like just this final challenge, which is like the classic challenge of hand on the heart idol, and unfortunately, Chappies cannot close the deal and break the survivor record of winning more than 5 individual immunities. And Nicole wins. Good on her. Absolutely. Like this clinches her win as well as being the one to knock out Chappies. So
yeah, and Chappies just kind of blacks out, and it's pretty nasty fall to the floor. And yeah, it's a heartbreaking moment. And then this tribal council, we get Chappies having a real emotional moment of kind of knowing what the writing's on the wall. I do think he does a good job of chatting to Nicole and telling him about his trip with Anesu and kind of twisting words and saying how he's not got the best chance, and the jury are mad at him. And I also think the one thing I'd really push with Nicole, if I'm trying to get her to vote out Anela, is the fact that Anela and Nicole have played this game together.
Yeah.
And that your arguments are going to be the same, and you can't really claim anything over each other. And Anela has had more, flashy moments of playing with multiple people and having multiple alliances. So I think he could have maybe sold that Anela is a big threat with the jury. But yeah, I mean, Chappies is the obvious vote here.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do. But he has like a great speech when Nico asked him about this. Chappie says the survivor record was in my reach, but I didn't make it. But it happens so many times in life. It's a classic resemblance of my life as well, where you want to reach for the stars, but you fall. What really matters is how quickly you stand up. But I want to dream big, and I'd rather aim for the stars and aim for the moon. It's like, man, Chappie takes loss. Like he takes defeat so well.
Yeah, with tears down his face. It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and true Chappies fashion, gets his torch snuffed and throws the coconuts back.
Yeah. Also, Anela says that Marisha has probably been advocating for Nicole as well, trying to cancel out the advocation for him. And Nicole just goes,
I miss that one, man. She's the fun winner.
Yeah, she actually is on this rewatch.
Really is. Yeah, so really lovely.
She's a more fun version of Natalie White for me. I guess if you had to compare the games, but
Natalie. For a second there, I was thinking the other Natalie.
Not Natalie Anderson. No. Natalie Anderson was fun. It's just Natalie White. She's a better version of Natalie White, I think. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's actually perfect analogy. Nice.
Yeah, we'll get to that in the winner rankings. But yeah, so anything else to say on Chappies?
Great, man. I fucking love him.
Yeah.
The personality of the season, huge player, fantastic entertainment. He's great.
Yeah, and when Tony talked about it in our interview with her of it was too soon for Chappies to come back next season, we'll talk about it. I'm going to agree. I think it sucks because I don't think Chappies had a chance at going far at all, coming back so quickly.
Yeah, so that's probably where Kiran probably should have taken Chappie's spots. Kiran would have had a better shot.
Yeah. All right. Final tribal council. So I don't know. I thought both had decent speeches. I mean, Anela's was pretty interesting to listen to kind of his philosophy on the game. Nicole's was all right. I mean, neither of them had bad speeches.
Yeah.
It was interesting then Santonia's the moment, like I mentioned earlier, she an earlier moment means she will never vote for Anela, so her vote's already sealed. I didn't like that. Come on, be open to this. I don't know what Anela said that made it so he would never get her vote, but what did she say she was pissed off at with him?
You acted with the ego, and you won't get my vote. It was based on canceling the plans for Kiran. Previous vote, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess because that is, like I said, I think that is what hurt Smash in this final tribal council, that move. So, oh well.
I do think I would say his final tribal was stronger than Nicole's.
Yeah.
I think he did a much better job of breaking down the game, step by step, and going through stuff.
Yeah,
so that's why I really thought it was going to be close, and it just wasn't.
Right, exactly. I don't know. again, I think it's literally because like Nicole was winning going in and nobody changed. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and then Sean was advocating for Anela because he says that everyone thought Anela was voting with him, and that's good gameplay, which I think it is. If people think that you're always going to vote with them, that is good. Also, another Sean moment. This is a praise for Nicole, where Sean goes, "I've been at jury for a while," and then Nicole goes, "I've seen it. It's done you well." It's like, yeah, because he's put on so much weight.
yeah. All right. So then we get to the reunion before the votes are revealed. So I did watch the reunion this time.
I do have just one last thing on Final Tribal before we go. Like you mentioned earlier, Amy has that moment where she talks about being a lawyer and everyone knows. And then Kiran gets up next and tells everyone, I'm actually a strategy consultant. And no one has any idea. And it cuts to Amy on the jury just being like, he looked so gutted.
Yeah, that was good. So yeah, we get to the reunion, and they just go through this whole thing. They even have like a clip montage of Anela and Nicole visiting like the site of the season.
Well, yeah. Well, first they have to go to the casino. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, but I guess because they're sponsoring them. But I did actually like seeing them go back to like where the camp was and the challenges was. I thought that was nice.
I did like that.
It was
nice
cool.
touch.
It was cool. Yeah. So I mean, and then they talk to everybody. Chappies wins the fan
before reading the votes.
Yeah, before reading the votes, Chappies wins fan favorite. No surprise there. And then Nicole wins 8-1 over Anela. So
I was so happy.
Yeah.
We know.
All right. Any other notes before we hit the rankings? Because we'll talk about that more in a second.
Just everybody cleaned up well at the reunion. I mean, Chappie's outfit, man, he looked good. His outfit was awesome.
Yeah. All right. So the awards. All right. Favorite player. I mean, mine's obvious. Let's go with Chappies. I mean, just iconic. One of my favorite international players of all time. I'll just say favorite players of all time. He's in that top 10 pretty easily. So
is it Malcolm? Is Malcolm above Chappies or
Malcolm is
Okay. I just wanted to see. Okay.
Yeah. So what are you who is your guys' favorite player this season?
Who you got, Matt?
I think it's gonna be Chappies. I mean, he was just it was just I know who you're probably gonna pick, so that's why I was.
Well, I won 3.
You
can pick one.
Oh, okay. Matt's gonna make it.
No. Okay, I'm gonna say I really love Nicole. She's amazing. I think she's fantastic, and I was very glad she won. I'll narrow it down to 2 because I can't choose between them. I think Anesu and Kiran are both absolute top tier world class players, and I love discovering them in this season. And that episode I talked about in our chat, where it's like it felt like George versus Haley of the 2 best strategic social players going up against each other, and who's going to come out on top. I think they are both amazing.
Okay. Yeah. If we can pick 2 players, then I'll pick Chappies and Kiran too, because like Kiran, I definitely want to see come back.
Yeah, I will also do that. All right. Least favorite player, of course, I got to go with Warda, and if I'm picking 2, I'll do Warda and Pinty.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Damn it! Don't take both of mine.
Okay, I'll just do Warda. I'll do Warda.
Warda did annoy me at times. I do think she had some gameplay, so I'm going to go for Kian, who was just kind of there.
All right.
Well, then I'll definitely do Warda and Pinty. No way Pinty comes back. No way. But apparently I've heard from everybody like she's super nice in person. It's like, yeah, I think everybody's super nice in person if they're not starving on a fucking island.
Yeah. I mean, some people just have short tempers, and that's fine. All right. Best move, I'm gonna go with the Anesu blindside. It literally was the turning point. We've talked about this, and like I think it really sets the tone. And again, Austin, I have no idea what you're smoking or talking about with this.
Oh yeah, let's all just shit on Austin. This is a great podcast.
What is the best move to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's the move of the season.
Mhm.
And just the fact that it's two moves going on simultaneously, it's just a fantastic episode.
Yeah, Matt.
I'm trying. I was looking back to see if I could find something different. I'll go maybe the Jason.
Yeah,
Move, just to make it. I'll just no. In fact, I will make even more specific. Renier pointing. That's the best move of the season, literally.
yeah. It's that premiere was just fantastic. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Someday maybe I like for all the international seasons we've covered and US Survivor, I may do like a video of like my favorite episode
No.
from every season. I just think
Yeah.
that'd be really cool to do something
Yeah.
like that.
And then another special one, even though it's not best move, I'm just going to say Chappie saving everybody's life.
Yeah.
Like that entire challenge is just like,
Yeah. All right, who should return? Because I know we're all gonna say someone different, and I know you guys are gonna bring up Kiran and Anesu. I'm gonna go with Renier, just to be kind of different. I think he could be a really an even better player on a return because I think he has a great strategic mind for the game. And if he was everyone's number one, as Dino said initially, I think he's a good player. So.
Yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say about them, but whichever one Matt doesn't choose, I'll choose the other. Kiran or Anesu.
Okay, well, I'm picking Warda. No, no, yeah, I'm picking Kiran because you know he just So because I knew you were going to pick Nessa. Like I would want to see both that, but
yeah.
All right. All right, let's hit our winner rankings. All right. The top 12 of International Survivor. The Golden God, David Ganott, is at number 1, followed by Ferris, followed by Rob Bentley, followed by Mark Wales and Haley Leak. That's the top 5. Pia, Liz, Matthew Haywood, Jericho, Christy, Shangold, and Tom Swartz is at last place. So Nicole Wilmans, all right. This is tough. Because I think her game was better on the rewatch. I'm just kind of struggling where to like put her. So I don't know what you guys.
I immediately thought somewhere around where Jericho is because that seems like kind of.
Yeah,
I would say above Jericho. Where was Christy?
Above Jericho.
Christy was right below Jericho. So
who's above Jericho?
Matthew Haywood.
Above Matthew.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I mean, I got more respect for Matthew's game listening to him talk about everything he did. But I don't know. I feel like.
Well, do you want to save this ranking till after we talk to Nicole then?
Yeah, I mean that. I don't know. That's tough. Ugh. No, I see what you guys are saying though. I feel like Nicole more often than not probably makes it.
Okay. Well then, who is above Matt? Just
Liz. So.
All right. I'm thinking now. I think we're all gonna be different. I'm going below Matt.
Okay. Yeah.
Below Matt.
Yeah, I'm going below now.
I was going to go above Liz.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go above Liz. So then,
God.
if he goes in the middle, then he'll be right in the middle, or she'll be right in the middle.
I don't know.
Who's above Liz?
That is Pia.
No,
I think
she's not.
No, I don't think she's above Pia. But I think Pia, like, I would put her there, but I understand if.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I just think Liz is better because she beat returning players.
Yes. Yeah.
By being with like two of the greatest strategists.
Oh, I'm sorry. She played the card she was dealt.
True. That's what I say.
Terrible.
If Nicole was better, she would her first season would have been on a returning season. Just saying.
I will say to Michael's point with that, like, oh, sorry, what was the point you made? Because I'm trying to remember.
Liz had terrible reads with Flick. She
yes.
was constantly blindsided. after she lost Shawnee, she just fell right back in with George. Like, it wasn't until that final move to take out George that she really had solid agency in the game. And at that point, like, it's the final challenge. Of course, you're going to take out George.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't really have to stand on her own 2 feet, I don't think.
Okay, you're selling me on it.
Yeah, you've
yeah,
sold me.
I'm going above Liz. Is there a way that we can retroactively put Matt above Liz too?
We could move stuff because I'm.
We can do that at the end when we're done with everything.
Yeah, so let's put Nicole Wilmans below Pia and above Liz right now.
Yeah, I think that seems
so.
Right. Yeah.
All right. All right. International seasons. So our top 12: Titans versus Rebels, Heroes versus Villains, Champions versus Contenders 2, Season 2 2017 of Australia, Brains versus Brawn. That's the top 5. Then we got SA Philippines, AU All Stars, AU Season 1, AU Champions versus Contenders 1, UK, Island of Secrets, and Blood versus Water is the worst.
I'm thinking 5. Because I like this better than Brains versus Brawn.
Yeah, I do too. I'm with you on that. So it's between that and 2017.
No, I'm not putting it above 2017.
Yeah, 2017 is pretty good. So I like Chappies being at the end game more. Like the end game of 2017 for me is like kind of what, like, if you had to pick like the worst part of a season, it would be the end game of 2017. But
yeah. Well, yeah, like once Luke goes, like that season nosedives. Like how Austin said this season nosedive with the Tide Destinies. Well, Austin's a fucking idiot, as we've all figured out.
So I don't know. I think it should be above Brains versus Brawn. So I guess Michael, like, I mean, would you put it above 2017 or below that? Because
yeah, I definitely agree about Brains versus Brawn. It's so tricky comparing the more dense seasons to like the longer form Australian seasons. Like, I think 2017 is fantastic up until like 2/3 through, whereas this season I think is constantly climbing. I don't think it has a dip.
Yeah.
It's so tight with me. I could go either way on it, so I don't mind wherever the consensus is there.
I'm going above 2017 for me.
Yeah, we just said there is no consensus. I'm below 2017. You are the deciding factor.
Oh,
yeah, you're the decider.
You know what? This is like, especially as the first time watch to have a new season of Survivor. Like, I had so much fun watching this season. I really, really loved it. I'm going to go above.
All right,
that's fair. I knew it was going to. Yeah, that's fine. Because I know that we're going to have another season ranked above this one. So
yeah. I mean, Return of the Outcasts, I think, is going to go very high.
Probably top 3. Yeah.
So I'm excited to rewatch that one because I've only seen it once, and I think giving it the rewatch and paying attention more is going to be so good. So awesome. This has been a great journey with you guys as always. So we'll have more interviews from this season coming up, and so stay tuned for that. And and we'll let you know when Return of the Outcast is coming out. So anything else before I wrap it up?
I love you, Nicole.
I was waiting for something there. I was like,
I love you, Chappies.
I love you, Dino.
All right. With all of us proclaiming our love for someone, we will see you all next time on the Tribe of Nerds.